Good evening, one and all. It is Sunday, it's the end of the week. It's time we jump into some more good old Warframe. Welcome everyone, I hope you're doing well where you are around the world. I have quite literally just sat down because I got my times ever so slightly mixed up and I've only just put together a tea, so I won't take a sip. That is literally boiling hot right now. But welcome in everyone. Hope you are doing well. Otherwise, we're saying good evening to you as well. Dr. Sleep out in the yard with wife right now, watching a stream on a video projector on our wall. Well, isn't that something different? I hope you and your entire neighborhood enjoy the projection, yeah? I mean, depending on how far people can see it, of course. Of course. But yes, welcome all in. How is allying with Vay Hek a thing? That is a very good question. That is a very good question. You see, I did log in just the other day as this all got started. I've not actually spent any time on Warframe over the weekend, so I've not indulged in this other than to see a mutual enemy. But rather than read this, why don't I just hit the replay message button?
Tenno, you wretched maggots, my ghouls have betrayed me.
About time.
Stolen my galleons and weapon parts. They aim to attack me and you. So, we both have a problem.
Oh no.
My solution. You capture the instigators. Use my favorite instrument of explosive violence. The Ogress.
Sure.
In return, you keep what they stole. And we both crush an enemy. Take it or leave it.
Is there a reason that Vay Hek was recording that from inside of a rave? Like, surely the flashing light in his face has got to be a little bit distracting, you know? For anyone who's suffering with a little bit of photosensitive epilepsy, that's not the message you want to receive. Although that said, if you're photosensitive epileptic in Warframe, rip, let's be honest. This game is full of blinky lights. But yes, Vay Hek has requested our assistance and in the process wants us to grab the Ogress and blow shit up. Maybe he was exploding stuff? Maybe. Maybe things were being exploded around him. Maybe he had no control over the explosions. Maybe that's why he needs us. Too much explosion, not enough eye protection. And let's face it, there's not much left of him at this point. He is reduced to a floating machine head. If he's got any way to protect those eyes, he's going to go for it. And we are the protection. Will I be playing these publicly? What we can do is we can also open this up to the stream for anyone who wishes to join in. Now, I don't actually know the ins and outs just yet. As I say, I've never actually played it yet. This weird little event. There is the one-time reward of a Tonkat blueprint and Stratos emblem, which is very nice to have. Loadout override with the volatile Ogress. And of course, I'm going to have to equip good old Lavos, aren't I? There he is. It's just the correct way of doing things. Let's swap off some of this old stuff as well, as I was testing some things. So we don't need to worry about any of that. I know this is going to override in a moment, but I'm just re-equipping stuff for now. Just in general. You... Shove that on, why not? Nope, I didn't mean to hit that button, but it's fine. It still does the job. There we are, okay. No abilities, no passive, recommend just getting Anaris with Grace. I mean, why go Anaris when I can be Lavos? Lavos also works. Lavos is reasonably well protected. Besides, Anaris needs to get additional defenses from abilities. Lavos doesn't, so that also works. But yes. Alright then. I've got a loadout. So anyone else who wishes to join in, send me a message in-game. The Kenji will bring you into the squad. We can see what is going on with this galleon of ghouls, which is apparently also about to run out, so it's a good thing we're jumping onto this. Very short-lived. We used to have self-damage years ago. Happy without. Understandable. Understandable. Yeah, send me a message in game if you wish to join in on this. Did I not turn on the join command to let you know how to do that? Oopsie doopsie. Let's fix that right now. My bad on that. There we go. So if you happen to not know how to send a message in game, !join, the bot will tell you what to copy paste. Ask me to play something other than Lavos' madness. I mean, I will play other things other than Lavos, it's just only when they're the correct tool for the job. If they are in fact not the correct tool for the job, then I won't. Leslie, you might be on cooldown because you attempted the command before it was available. Or the command can just break now. What the... What is it with... Okay, is it if I turn off commands, the bot just forever turns them off for people? Hold on. Yeah, bot is alive. Okay. Someone else just called the command. Leslie did. There we are. The command is working. I guess it was just put onto cooldown when someone else used it, but then it went on longer cooldown than it should have. I don't know. Bots are weird. Anyway, Georgia, come on in. Leslie, come on in. There we go. And whilst we're at it...
Been a bit since I managed to catch you live. How we doing today?
Ah yes, catch me live. Well done, bot. Well done. That is exactly the variant of that word we are using here today. Poor Finn, thank you very much for managing to pop in to catch me live with the 22-month resub. I'm doing well, thank you very much. Hope you're doing well yourself, absolutely. Cheers on that. And LU with the gifted sub over to Crowned Ladybug directly there. LU, thank you very much for the gifted sub for the two of you there. Working together to kick off both the month and also close to kicking off a hype train. Cheers. Now, I appear to have gained just a Leslie in the squad here. Jojo, let's try that again, shall we? Give it another shot. There it is. There it is, the hype train, aka scam train, depending on your opinion on it, has arrived in the station. Read in and complete with the primary sub there, up onto 16 months. Cheers indeed. I'll sip of water because that tea is still very hot. I think I have an ulcer developing under my tongue. Oh, that's not nice. Oh well, that's gonna hurt. Cal Jade with the on-screen celebration of 100 bits. Thank you very much for the support there as well. That's gone straight into the hype train. You are part of that train there. Do we have a fourth person to join us on the event today? We still have one more space left over. !join if you don't know how to send a message to join these squads. You're throwing together an Aros? Fair enough. Gotta make sure you got that premium sand. Also, I see from Petra the request for some... was that apple? Well, I won't be able to see it for long. Could you change over to an apple? Joshua. There we are. There we go. That has been done. Now, for those of you missed, there was going to be a stream on Friday as well. Actually, on Friday, I wanted to do, surprisingly enough, a Warframe stream on Friday. But, unfortunately, there were just power cuts happening in the area. It turns out, at least from the information I found, that the power cuts were intentional from the electric companies trying to find a fault in the area. And electric companies being electric companies, they don't do their best to make sure that we know this is going to happen or give us any warning or whatnot. We just have the power inexplicably go down. I was beginning to wonder if we were going to have a scenario similar to what happened over in Spain the other day. But thankfully, that did not come to pass. But the power did cut out half a dozen times. And so that made it where a stream just would not have been stable. Just not at all. Flowing Thoughts, thank you very much for the resub there up onto 29 months with that Prime. Much appreciated, Flo. And cheers on that, hope you're doing well. What was I planning on playing on Warframe on a Friday? I was planning on actually running this account, main account, in a way similar to Dan. Because I had a theory, and I have managed to test this theory just briefly over the weekend. I had a theory, and that theory has unfortunately proven true. And what it means is that the next and final episode of the Dan series is indeed going to be a bit longer. It's going to take me a little bit longer to put together and a little bit longer to get the bits and pieces that make that happen. Because there's a very interesting power scaling to consider in Warframe. I won't go into full details. I don't want to ruin the finale of the story, but suffice to say, I was going to test how things worked, and I have managed to test it after the power cut stopped happening, and you'll see the results of that test. Does Garuda's passive work with the event Ogres? My understanding is that passives are turned off, so I would imagine no, but I have no way to know for certain, sorry. I haven't actually tried it so far. Flo, thank you for the 5 bits. Alright, I think it's going to be the 3 of us. I think it is going to be the 3 of us. Let's do this. Tells me how many people have enjoyed this event. I'm sure it'll be fine. What could possibly go wrong? Is Dan finishing already? I did say in the last episode that it was, when wrapping up the episode, that'll be it until the finale. And Leslie has left the squad, which suggests to me that Georgia has just stolen the host. Who? Let's see, who is host? No, it's Leslie, I do apologize. Georgia is actually Leslie that's stolen the host. How dare.
Find and capture the Rex.
Gotta be careful not to blow myself up, because, you know, that would be bad. Yep, don't want to be doing too much of that. Will the parts be tradable? No idea. Oh! Does that? Oh wait, no, that's a ghoul cloud. I was going to say, did I get hurt by an ally?
The Ogress is too dangerous. Maybe. You were right.
Okay, well, that is already a capture and extraction. Okay.
To have a discussion.
Alright, out we go, I guess. Oh god, no melee, so I can't melee slam. Ah! Ah! How was that not a kill? Come on! Don't give me a weapon that can't kill level 19 at point blank like that. No. Okay, if mods work, do arcanes work? And if so, can I please have hardcore velocity? Yeah, arcanes must work because people are using Grace. Yeah, not arc. Yeah, arcane acceleration might be better than velocity. We'll see. Arachne works. I don't want Arachne. I want mobility. Look how far this exit is. Crikey. Well then. That was certainly a choice. Leslie? Leslie? Because you went down? Is it? Okay, I'm just going to pop entirely out and back in. I don't know who's the bugged one. I think it might have been Leslie for going down there, but yeah.
Not bad. For a Tenno maggot.
And we got ourselves a Tomcat Blade. Beautiful. Also, I'm about to max out Suda. Galleons are huge for these missions? Yeah. Can hounds equip retriever mods? I'd imagine so, yeah. That's your 7th blade now? Oh, fair dude. What do we got here? Ah yes, motivation! Regret not, maggot. The galleon you raided was headed to an Ostron floating market near Earth. The ghouls would have slaughtered every last one of those filthy peasants. And I know that would make you sad. More instigators hide in the shadows. Bring them to me before it become a problem for you. For motivation, take this blueprint. It uses parts you will recover while capturing ghouls. Yeah. Anyway, can Warframe VA when? D still have not reached out to me with such a thing, so clearly they're not interested.
Curious.
I sound like an orc from Warcraft? Oh great, thanks. There we are. That's where I end up. I am a Warcraft orc. Love it. Let's also switch things up a little bit in the bottom here. In fact, you know what? I have an idea. I have many Lavo. So here is Lavo we built earlier. Archangel, thank you very much for dropping your prime here up onto 2 months. Got that lovely bronze badge next to your name. Cheers. Cheers indeed. Yeah, we'll start the next mission in just a moment. Right then. That is just a setup, all-round cluster. Yeah, sure. Honestly, cannot be bothered to put in enough effort on this. The missions are not that difficult. What I want is parkour velocity. We go for consequence. And then we'll just add on grace for general defensive, because we can't cast abilities to heal. And then I then do something a little bit cursed. Not the towels. There we go. That should be a little bit better. That should be a little bit better. Yeah, it's no Lavos Prime, but... Oh, there we go. That's the mobility you're looking for, isn't it? I think we can take this just a little bit further. Let's take this a little bit further, eh? Let's see here. We don't need continuity at the moment because we can't cast. So, Firewalker. That'll do quite nicely. Fretius? I'm going Fretius. Fretius, thank you very much for dropping your prime over here. Welcome into the channel proper, and enjoy that lovely blue badge next to your name. Cheers. I can't believe there's a black and red and a white and blue Lavo. Have to have a little bit of... What's the word? Actually, I've lost a word. Diversity, variation... Contrast? Contrast, maybe? That's not the right word. Variety. Yeah, variety. Just pure variety. I had variation, but didn't get variety. What's wrong with me? Alright, give me the marker. Which way? Do we just have to literally hunt it down? I was expecting a marker. No marker need to explore? Damn it, Vay Hek, so useless. Oh, here we are.
Attention, you insolent ghoul.
Got him.
This Tenno will blow up anything that moves until they find you.
Alright, well that's that done. And this mobility is far superior. Oh. Still don't have a melee to slam with, so I do have to be careful and actually aim my bullet jumps. I can't just aim for maximum clearance. I'm faster than doors can open, so, you know, that's pretty effective. It does mean I'm still waiting for everyone else in the squad, but we can see how long that takes now, can't we? There we are, I've arrived on location. Arrived on location 125, let's see how long the mission actually is. I don't remember inviting another person. Oh, is it because Leslie is set to public and Leslie stole the squad from me? I think it might be that. Alright, we were there for 28 seconds. Not terrible. Not terrible at all. Mogus? It is a bit sus, isn't it? Do I want to add stuff like a Malceration, Barrel Diffusion, Praedos? Nah, I've got enough mobility now. I've got enough mobility on this, I'm satisfied. Well, at least there's still the old kicking person out the squad thing. So that is useful. Top review of this build, fasten the door. It's a surprisingly important metric. Most people, they'll complain about friendship doors slowing them down. Me, I complain about enemy doors slowing me down. We are not the same.
Traitorous instigator skulks somewhere on this galleon.
Let's find them. Not in this room.
Capture him.
Not in this room. Oh! There they are. Take them down. You know, I have another change I'll be making to this Lavos in a moment. There we go. They're captured. Where's our exit? Ah, shoot. Shoot, didn't mean to roll. No.
I'm going to make you wish you were captured by the Lotus.
Down we go. Skip over the railings a little bit. No, no, stuck in stuff. I must get there first. It is a requirement. There we are, I'm fine.
You filthy
There we are.
have saved us.
Yeah, I think I can take out Arcane Consequence here and go for Arcane Warmth, remove those cold procs, and I will just feel a little bit better. Okay, so back to the arsenal. Let's make that other change as well. Let's remove that. Let's grab Warmth. And whilst we're at it, let's name this, because now I've broken it. Ghoul Event. Just so I know what's going on next time I look at this build. Very effective. And yeah, the change to the squads thing that got introduced is that if you start a squad in public, anyone that gets added to your squad as a result of it being a public mission will be removed from your squad when the mission completes and returns back to your base of operations. It means then there's no awkward leaving process. If you've got, say, you and a buddy, and then 2 randoms join you. If you're a relic fish, you don't have to wait for the randoms to go away, or just constantly redrop and remake a squad every single time. They're just gone. This level needs tower parkour shards? Nah, it doesn't require that much investment. I think 5 parkour shards on a temporary Lavos is silly enough. I've gone pretty far and I haven't seen the targets. I might have gone past them and I'm going towards extraction now, aren't I? Well, I'll keep searching. I see someone else is in the room with me, so they've taken a similar route. Yeah, I've reached extraction. Well, that's unfortunate, isn't it? That is unfortunate. If there was more reward for exploring than just crappy lockers and containers, I'd be down with more missions having, you know, just an open explore map like this. But because there is very little reward for it, it'll just feel painful. Anyway, I found extraction, so I've done my bit. Totes. Yoink. One Morphic, why not? The explosion killing them after the explosion is always silly to me. Do I think that an offline shop / trade like in Path of Exile could be implemented for Warframe? Well, it's basically just the ability to trade with players without needing to interact with players. I feel like that'd be disastrous. Okay, I guess I have to help, because the people who searched in different directions to me have not, in fact, managed to find the target either. The previous ones were found so quickly, I thought they would find it quickly as well. No worries. Oh, there they are. Is that a Georgia find? I think that might be a Georgia find. Judging by the pathing and where I'm looking. Yep. This weapon is a pain to use. It's not the self-damage, it's the charging to fire. Blech. Yeah, no, when it comes to player trading, I've said it many, many times, the friction is the value. A huge part of the value in trading is because people can't easily sell things. The moment it becomes easy to sell things is the moment the market crashes out on a lot of items and free-to-play becomes a menace. And on top of that, it may even reduce the amount of platinum people purchase because the price is dropping. And that will affect Warframe's bottom line. So they'll be spending time to implement something that makes some negative money. I just don't see that happening. I just don't see that happening. Alright, another blade. Uh-oh. It's happening. Less player-to-player interaction. I'll be honest, the player-to-player interaction trading is relatively minimal. Like, the player-to-player interaction I have is the 1 in 10 people that go, wait, are you the real one? You need 2 blades anyway? Yeah, but I'm more than 2. So yeah. A couple of humans say, salute to the memories of building up a band of randos as you clear planets. Remember, really inconsistent chance of getting a squad on steel path nodes. Just wonder how that affects players first getting into that stage of play for the first time. You can still squad up with people, and if you want to re-squad with people, you just go to the recent players section and squad up with them. The change is that when you usually don't want to keep people around, they don't by default stick around. You have to actually intend to keep people around. Yeah. Oh, that's a target. Got him. It's good because players can negotiate and also make new friends. I mean, yes, you can negotiate, you can interact, and if that leads to new friends, good for you. As a asocial, introverted idiot, I'm pretty terrible at that, for sure. Don't mind me whilst I get stuck on all of the terrain. Here's extraction. Ta-da! Particle velocity, absolutely worth it.
You filthy Tenno have saved us both.
Hey, handle, lovely.
Headache. I don't hate you. Right now.
Exactly, Elu, yeah, exactly. If you communicate with people during the mission, then you can open up that dialogue, open up that rapport to re-invite them and form a squad after the mission finishes. But if you don't do that, if you're not communicating during the mission, at that point, what's the point of keeping the people together? You didn't interact. There's nothing happening. The whole holding people hostage or having to completely break down the squad every single time because of a rando you picked up, that was the friction point. That was the friction point.
An instigator cowers somewhere in the bowels.
I feel like this mission could have been a little bit more interesting. I'm gonna put it out there. Like, I get funny challenge restrictions, but it feels like there could have been a bit more to it than what we got. Maybe a little bit. Oh, I lost my shields there because I hit myself.
Come out, wherever you are.
I mean, he's right there, Vay Hek. It's right there.
Present for you.
Hello, Flying Oblivion. Welcome on in. Let's get out of here.
I'm going to make you wish you were captured by the Lotus.
Bounce our way out of this. Parkour for the win. Seriously, parkour velocity. When I realized just how much value it could provide for mission speeds, honestly, it's just such a beautiful thing. The sheer navigation power. Like, you don't need any Warframe ability, you just go. It's brilliant. Even self-damage belly tickle. I mean, I have kinda tanked against it. Because that hit I just took there would kill most Warframes. It's just that Lavos is Lavos.
This does not
There you are.
make
And that's another handle. Sweet. There we go then.
that understood.
You can overtake many entertaining Wukongs with parkour Lavos. Parkour Ivara even. That can do the work. Happy I was saying, Guesty might have been more careful with this mission to gauge community response. I get that. I don't mind goofiness, it's just the goofiness needs, I'd say, a little bit more replay value. When we are firing at one capture target with a little bit of a bullet sponge to them, there's better. There is better. Alright, I forgot the name of the weapon, I just remember there was a double T in it. There it is, Tonkat. 2 handles, 4 blades, 2 more runs than technically necessary. Yes, I'm sure I want to build that. There we go. Alright then, so what I could do now is I could just say, well, that's a stream, we got the item, it's building, job done. Or do I rush it? Do I spend 50 plat and rush Tonkat so you get to know if it's worth the effort or not? Of course I do. Job's a good one. What's plat for if not to rush event weapons, eh? Let's have a look at this thing, shall we? Let's have a look at this thing. First of all, what was that mastery level it said for it? Mastery 9, okay. 30. And it, as a Tonkat, it's gotta come into Tonfas, right? Unique trait. Increasing combo multiplier grants plus 4% heat damage for 15 seconds. Stacks up to 30 times. Increasing combo multiplier, but stacks up to 30 times. But you can only increase the combo multiplier 11 times. Puffin saying the gimmick is bugged. It has the no effect on DOT bug from various formation, etc. Okay, I mean it could be granting it as base damage. Would have to test that. Well, no, base damage should still go in as well. Curious. Decay restack. Yeah, you have to reset multiplier to get the stacks. Ooh. 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 Oh, that's horrible. Meta Crescendo comes to mind? I mean, I get where you're coming from on that, but is this a weapon that really makes you reliably finish your stuff? And, yep, it is indeed Tonfa category, as one expects. Also, the correct polarity, which is good. True punishment. True punishment would reduce combo duration, and so you can have it run out that much quicker. Sure. It's just, yeah. At least, don't we already have an established way to attach bonuses to combo? Yeah. I guess the whole idea is you're supposed to be spending it and building it and spending and building it, which is kind of weird considering that Tennokai exists. Tennokai existing makes this a little bit more painful. Yeah, I suppose you would just want to go into the heavy attack efficiency. So your galvanized reflex here for 50%, and you could grab focus radon for another 40%. That will cap you out. That's 90%. You also get initial combo. You also get radiation. Or instead of focus radon, you could do focus energy for the electric instead of radiation. That works. Just for the combo regen. Okay, it wouldn't get you all the way up, but yeah. You can spam heavies with it? Yeah, you can spam heavies, but you'd still be missing out on a bunch of combo. Unless you wanted to go for a pure heavy attack initial combo build, which I suppose is an option. That is absolutely an option. If we have a look at combos here, the heavy attack on Tonfas does have Force Slash as well. Very true, MK. Yeah, if you have too much efficiency, you'd only gain a little bit of combo each time, I guess. Does initial combo regen give you the buff? That's a good question, actually. That is a good question. Let's give that a very quick test, because I can easily get some butcher kills on that and then see what happens. Leslie, Georgia, thank you very much for being in the squad for the runs there, and I'll leave you to your own personal fun at the moment. Once we get on to have a look at the functions of this. Also, let's remove our companion for now, because that will get in the way. Okay, so let's see what happens with this.
The multitude of creatures you have immortalized would cry out in thanks.
Into our testing area. Let's grab some butchers. Level 2. Steel Path, level 2. Level 2. Alright. Oh, bullet jumps for the win. Okay, so. Smacky smacky. And immediately I see bonus heat damage on combo multiplier increases. So we can see we're now up to 9 stacks if I just heavy attack. Up to 11 stacks. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Because of the efficiency, I'm not burning all of my combo each time. But this is working out. I can't remember. Am I on Naramon at the moment? I am on Naramon. So I won't lose all my combo every time, which means it only has to rebuild one combo. Oh, okay. So the entire buff runs out as one. And due to initial combo not actually losing any combo, the whole running out thing doesn't auto work in our favor. There is that to consider. Okay. You wonder about the intendedness of this interaction? Whether it's intended or not, it's what we've got, so we'll just work with it. Okay. So, in terms of initial combo, it is Galvanized Reflex and then Corrupt Charge. Doesn't leave us a lot of options, but that does also cut our combo duration down for whatever value that is. Let's slap this on here. Why not? Let's slap this on here. I've got them available. Let's use them. Now, Flo's pointed out that melee afflictions could be a way to go here because enemies are knocked down by this heavy attack. So one thing I want to test real quickly on that is exactly how much do we get out of that. If I go for a butcher again, Let's grab ourselves one. Nope, just the one. Just the one, Ken. Just the one. But one very strong butcher. He is affected by 14 slash procs. Woo, okay. Yeah, that makes a little bit of work happen, doesn't it? 14 slash procs. Alright, I think we can work with that. That's basically base Tonfa? Sure. I know it's just a Tonfa thing, but it still shows that it's a class we can work with. As heat will not clash with electric, so influence... Yeah, I know, influence exists. Influence exists. You could probably put melee influence onto a frying pan and work. I just... At this point, it's reached a stage where I don't even need to talk about it. If you can apply electric statuses, off you go, do your best. Have fun. Okay, so let's have a look. Chronon Prime stats. Chronon Prime has ever so slightly lower crits, much higher status, same range, higher attack speed, much higher base damage, or notably higher base damage. For the Chronon Prime, it is a hell of a lot in that slash, although I think the same is true for the Tomcat. Chronon also picks up a little bit of impact though, so do bear that in mind. But even then, the sheer status chance just helps out slash here. And as a result, the heavy attack is also stronger. So, Chronon Prime seems to still be a winner in terms of values, but the Tomcat isn't like a lot behind. That status drop is notable, but overall it's not terribly far behind the Chronon Prime. Behind normal Chronon, ahead. Tomcat is much better than normal Chronon, so there is that. But then normal Chronon's only MR3. So I'd say that's MR3, that's MR13, Tomcat's MR9. It is about where you'd expect it to be stat-wise. How does it compare to Prisma Oma? Good question, let's have a look. Do I have the Prisma Oma? Yes. Prisma Oma, which is also MR12, so again higher. Prisma Oma has higher crits, marginally less status, marginally less attack speed, significant increase in base damage, and also leans into that electric. Now do bear in mind, of course, that the Tomcat has that bonus heat damage, which will offset the missing damage here. But otherwise, yeah. Stats-wise, the Prisma Oma does come out ahead. It does come out ahead there. I mean, we can just look at the Tonfa category. Telos Boltace, much higher status, leans into puncture rather than slash though, so that is a bad thing. Damage is again higher, crits are a little teeny tiny bit lower, same attack speed, same range. And Praedos, we can't see the Incarnate stats on it at the moment to easily compare to, because they're all the way down here instead. But at base stats, it is pretty much about the same on these accessory stats, slightly higher attack speed, notably higher damage, and then when you go into Incarnate, you just get even more out of it. You just get even more. So yeah, the Tomcat is a mid Tonfa. There are better ones out there, accessible either through Prime upgrades, through Barrow delivery, is it Prisma? Yeah, Barrow's Prisma, or through just accessing later game and going to the Saruman. Isn't Praedos better Tonfas overall? It is, yeah. Better than Tomcat overall, because you got those Incarnate upgrades on top of it just existing. Because if I just grab that real quick. So, the Incarnate buff giving it more range and more attack speed is huge already. You've got extra attack speed here, initial combo if you want, or whatever other buffs you wish to pick up. Excuse me. Yeah, it can heavy attack faster. It can give you extra parkour velocity. Probably the biggest stuff there. And initial combo, attack speed. Or movement speed. Yeah, attack speed there. And then on this side, just a lot more range and attack speed. So the Praedos should win out overall against Tomcat. Oops. Tonkat has 2Ks in it, of course. So yeah, with the Tonkat having just slightly higher accessory stats, but significantly lower on the base there, even with the perk, it's close. It's surprisingly close, I'll be honest with you. It is surprisingly close. It's not like the Tonkat is terrible and the Praetos is amazing. They are at most one tier, one category apart. And considering that we just got the Tonkat in minutes, it's easy to evaluate which one to grab if you were a newer player. Because you do need to construct it, you do still need to have MR9, and MR9 is a pretty sizable chunk into the game, though. MR9 is not your day zero rookie. You do put in at least a little bit of effort to get there. Yeah, MR9. Yeah, Praetos is quite a bit more work. Chronon Prime can be difficult to access. What is the price on the Chronon Prime at the moment? Let's have a look here. If you want to get Chronon Prime set from another player, 100 platinum. That's not a small ask. It's Mastery 13, 100 platinum. That is not a small ask at all, no. The blades are going for 30 a pop, the blueprint for 4, and the handle 9 or 10. And for a set, you need 2 blades, 2 handles, just like with this, on top of the blueprint. So that'll be 30, 60, 70, 80, about 84, 85 plat if you purchase the items separately rather than buying a full set. So putting in a little bit more effort, you save a bit of platinum, but yeah, that still gives you an idea where it's at. What's Chronon Prime do that Praetos can't? Status. Definitely status. So if you have a look at Praetos here, status chance down at 20%, whereas Chronon Prime, status is 34%. You close to double the status output there, which is significant. So whilst the Praetos is more mobile, and you can get more attack speed out of it, the Chronon can make the hits that it does deliver that much more significant. The Praetos also has slightly lower crit stat, and slightly lower base damage. And it doesn't gain base damage or crits on switching into Incarnate form, if I recall correctly. Yep, nope. No gains there. What it gains is attack range and attack speed. So the Praetos becomes faster, better for clearing groups, but you lose out on the application of the damage. Chronon hits harder, hits with better status. Those are your trade-offs there. But honestly, there's not a huge difference between the two. Not a huge difference, and that's part of what maintains the Chronos price. The other part is no doubt going to be the set that it comes with, which is Zephyr Prime. So if Zephyr Prime's been out of rotation for a while, Chronon prices go up. You wouldn't say it's worth 100 plat? Well, next time it comes around then bring the price down. If it ain't worth that much to you, sell them. Do bear in mind that as a set it's got 5 parts, and of those parts, 2 of them are rares, 2 of them are uncommons, and only 1 common. So in terms of farming, that's quite a bit of relic cracking to get that. But yeah, all those bits together definitely affects the price of it. Praetos will work fine without costing you a bag. Absolutely true, Flow. Absolutely flow. But as people have mentioned, you still need to get to Zaraman, you still need to rank up the Zaraman, you still need to then farm the bits and pieces to build the item, bringing it all together. The Praetos blueprint is tradable at 10 plat, but you still need to then build the Praetos. I'll test another feature on this in a moment. Let me just bring up what that comes to. Have I seen the amusing Tom for skin bug on the Tomcat? Yes, I think I saw it on Reddit where it's just kind of constantly rotating the skin around. Does look a little silly. You need 2 more Incarnates to get everything out of the Praetos? There is also that, but if you're farming the Praetos, you're going to farm the others as well. Like, sure, you need to put in the effort for those materials, but it's not like you weren't going to do that. No one. No one gets to Cavallero and is like, hey, yes, I would like to go ahead and get me a Praedos, please, but I definitely have no interest in any of the others. It just doesn't happen. Or if it does, that person needs to update their priorities. Yeah, 15 Void Plume Pinions, that's a bit of work on that side there. 30 Void Plume Quills, which granted you can get from bounties, but it still adds up. Thorax Plasm shouldn't be a problem. But then if you're getting these other bits and pieces as well, you've got another 1 of 5 there for that secondary. And then these... Looks like Felox is the cheaper one in terms of materials. Another 10 pinions, another 15 quills, if you want to go that route of maxing it out. Otherwise, you need to go through Steel Path Circuit and equip those alongside the Praedos to fully unlock it. So yeah, the Praedos definitely has a lot more work behind it, as opposed to just buy set, build set, here is a weapon, just as strong, but with less range. Actually, here's a weapon slightly stronger, but with less range. So yeah. And now you can have yourself a downgrade, but a very easy to access downgrade. At least until it goes away in the next few hours. So yeah. So, in terms of modding then, this is probably going to want to lean into that initial heavy combo approach. Not sure on the status output. It does mean that Tennokai is right out. We don't want that. We just don't want that. But it's just going to be a heavy attack build. I do want to triple check on that unique trait. I know people saying it's non-combining and then it has the status bug, yada yada. Let's verify those details. Just make sure that there's nothing weird going on with that. So it is on increasing combat multiplier, gain these bonuses. Easy to test. I slap that in. And then just slap in some other status-y bits as well, just to make them happen as quickly as possible. We'll be able to verify. We will be able to verify on that.
The multitude of creatures you have immortalized would cry out in thanks.
So because the electric mod I have equipped is a 90% electric mod, it means that if the bug is indeed in effect, we get a heat proc, it'll deal... then the electric proc will deal 90% more damage than the heat proc, if that's how it works. If that's how it works. Just verify to put on the 90% version. Sorry, no, I put on 60%. So it'll deal 60% more than the heat, if that's how it works. If not, then we'll see a different value. So let's just see how that comes together. And let's grab ourselves an Xmas unit. I care about gaining the combo. I don't care so much about killing the target. Gaining combo is the focus. So we're seeing a 29 and a 67. So 29 is going to be from the slash, and 67 from the electric. 29 divided by the 0.35 of slash, times the 0.5 of electric, times the 1.6 for the electric modding, 66.3. So yeah, 67. So that at least is showing that's working so far. And now I've got the trigger, and I do see a heat proc has happened. That is good. Let's try and get just a heat proc. That could be a little bit difficult. Okay, I'm seeing 29 and 42. Okay, 42. If I go through this process again, take off the 1.6, 42 is as expected. So yeah, it does seem likely that the, what do you call it? The heat proc is not only non-combining, but non-upgrading. I want to verify that a little bit further. So let's take off the Voltaic Strike now, we don't need that. Let's go... Initial combo. Corrupt Charge. So every time I heavy attack now, that should Yeah, that should spend the combo, give us a new combo. We can spin it around frequently. If I go in for some heavy attack speed bonuses, that'll make that a little bit faster. I feel like I want to sneeze again. What's the best stance for Tomfers? Oh, easily. Easily Sovereign Outcast. Not even close. And luckily it matches the polarity on this one. Alright, let's just... I need to remember not to double swipe, because when you heavy attack, if you do 2 of them back to back, the second one uses the same combo before it runs out. This guy's going to perish, and then I need to get another target to be a test dummy for the effects. That's a problem. Be quick about this. It will run out otherwise. Okay, we got 42, 29 on the heat procs again. Heat and slash. So yeah, 42 and 29. Even with the 20 odd stacks, it's showing the same thing again. It is showing the same thing again. Despite this here, that would be a plus 80% heat damage bonus. It wasn't affecting the status proc, so it is absolutely correct. The added bonus there is non-combining and not proc affecting, or not proc boosting. Where do I think the line is between new player and advanced player? That's a very good question. I don't think there is a line, really. It's more confidence to succeed. And I don't mean blind confidence. I mean confidence and the actual success to back that up. If someone is still umming and ahhing over their builds and not sure if they can handle Steel Path or any kind of standard tough mission, then they're not themselves a very advanced player. You're not advanced if you are still struggling in various areas of the game and not sure how to achieve success in those areas. But at the same time, a new player wouldn't be someone in the middle who has made their way through a lot of it and is just trying to find their footing in the hardest of content. So yeah, I don't think there is a line between new player and advanced player. There's a gulf between new player and advanced player. And that gulf is one that we all cross in uncertain ways, each at our own pace. None of this has anything to do with MR? Oh, absolutely, yeah. Mastery rank just shows how much of the game you have leveled. It doesn't say that you have leveled yourself up. Why is Sovereign Outcast so much better? Because of the way that it attacks. So if I just kind of do this, you see the way I'm spinning around there? So if there's anything close to me, whack, 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 it would take a lot of attacks. Now let's grab the other stance, Gemini Cross, and do the same there. All these attacks are much more narrowly focused. We get nowhere near the same application of hits. And whilst there are other moves you can use, this one is even slower and is quite awkward to use. And you have this one, which has a bit of mobility to it, but again, it's awkward to use. So the overall point is that just Sovereign Outcast can apply far better, well, hits. It just applies it better. And if you look into these details here, it doesn't show you the speed of the animations, but it shows you the bonuses of those attacks. So the forward attacking combo, we have normal damage, double damage. Whereas if we bring in Sovereign Outcast again, those forward attacking combos, normal damage, normal damage. So we don't get any double damage bonus on that second attack. Otherwise, the damage bonuses are the same, yet you've got sheer application of the spins. So you're just going to get great results overall from it. The standard attacking combo, though, from Sovereign Outcast is a bit... yeah, crap. I don't like this one. When it comes to the standard attack, I would genuinely say that Gemini Cross wins out there. Because again, if we look at the combo bonuses, on that first attack you got 200% and then 550s. A lot of status, not a lot of power behind them. And then you got a 250, 300%, a 200, and a 200. And those all move awkwardly. Gemini Cross, you've got 200, 250, 50, a total of 400, a total of 350, total of 400, total of 500. Those attacks are generally a little bit better, and the way that it swings it in that neutral attack, the follow-up attacks, not so great. That opening attack almost feels like a heavy attack. To the point that people were asking me if I was heavy attacking in videos where I've used this stance before now instead of the other one, just in demonstration purposes. So you can use that for a pretty quick, effective hit, but most of the game you don't really need that kind of hit. Most of the game that's just not going to be good enough on a Tomfa. And for literally everything else, Sovereign Outcast wins. It just wins. And when you put more attack speed into that, you do become a Beyblade. So moves in a sense also force blocks or damage multipliers? They do, yes. But that's getting into the more advanced nitty-gritty, which, whilst relevant, doesn't really apply that much. Neon Rain asking, what should I do before the new war in preparation? Honestly, not a lot. Make sure you have a weapon set and warframe that you're comfortable with, that you can take on content towards the later end of the star chart. So if you're hitting upon Sedna, if you're knocking on Sedna's door and you're handling the missions at that level typically, so if you're handling Adaro, you're handling Selkie, you go through that and you can do it, you're probably okay. By that point, you've got what you need. In terms of a Necromech, you don't need one. They changed that. You can use a lone Necromech, and even if you have your own one, I literally did it unmodded. No mods on the Necromech when I went into New War myself with my alternate account, so you don't need it. When it comes to the Railjack, having some intrinsics, having some crew there can help, so it is nice to have that, but you don't need to go too far. I would say if you do all of the missions on Earth Proxima, and the first couple of missions on, I think it's Venus Proxima, before you get to the Orphix mission, if you do those, you're fine. You're just fine. You don't need the Seeker Volley stuff. You don't need all the other bits and pieces. If you can get them, if you choose to get them, great, you'll be a superhero. But you really don't need it. You really don't. The new war is nowhere near as punishing as people seem to make it out to be. Or at least some people. I would say only some. There was a small handful of people that said the new war is too hard. I did not see it. Genuinely did not see it. I have to wonder if someone is playing the game at that point, I'll be quite honest. I don't want to gatekeep it, but the difficulty was not there. The other thing is, though, make sure you have built an actual amp. I don't think you need it particularly at that quest, because you do pick up... Drifter has their own thing, but just in general, actually build an amp. The first opportunity you can, build an amp, get a 111. Just go for it. What's this secondary? This is a Gaze kit gun. I named a number of my kit guns synonyms of themselves. So Gaze is Observe. I also have the Catch Moon Grab Satellite. I have the Tomb Finger Crypt Digit. And the Rattle Guts Shake Innards. Yeah. I do think I'm hilarious. Except because Zagara's gift. Yeah, the infested ones I built at a different time. They got a different naming scheme. And so the infested ones, they all ended up, I think, with... yeah, all of them StarCraft references. So Abatha's Grasp, Baneling Bust. We got Zagara's Gift and Neural Parasite. So the infested ones, they ended up there. I think I just went with different random names for the primary other bits. So yeah, the Not Fulmin, the Stratios, the Ionata, and the Void Ray. There's no connection between those names. They just end up with different names. What's my favourite coder for now? Honestly, the Coder Bass Assist has been quite surprising to me. I did not think I would enjoy it as much as I did there. Lava Shards? Irrelevant. This was used for specifically the Vay Hek mission earlier, and so it's parkour, 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 parkour. This is why I say white and blue Lavos. This is not my normal Lavos. This is my normal Lavos. They have duration, corrosive, and casting speed. Why are these Tau Forged? Because someone literally tipped the stream requesting they be upgraded to Tau Forged. They were hurt that they weren't Tau Forged. So, alright. Okay. That happens. So with this then, let's throw something together here. We've tested the nature of the trait. The trait does carry over that status bug. For whatever reason, it just is. It does stack up every time you gain a combo, but not every time you could have. Say if you're at max, you need to actually be able to gain combo. So staying at max does not work, so a heavy attack approach is just for the win. Initial combo does work in that regard as well. The stacks will keep refreshing the whole stack, but then you lose the whole stack together as one. That's a little bit painful. But again, initial combo, you could just throw another heavy attack out there and then you'll maintain it. The heavy attack does work well with afflictions, so we'll keep that in. Do I want to go with this kind of approach? Maybe, maybe not. Let's go for galvanized steel, galvanized reflex. And I suppose if we're going to go status blocks, galvanized elementalist is going to be a good one as well. I just need to level this up to be able to do that. Yeah, that still doesn't fit. The base damage on this is currently missing out. Oh, I don't need that. Don't need that, yeah. Weeping Wounds won't get a lot of value, but with this and this combined, initial combo, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stacks of Weeping Wounds, that's still 200% status. That is still 200% status, although the heavy attack is for slash. That's actually kind of not needed, is it? We don't need a status approach. Yeah, no, let's not go with status approach at all, actually. Let's skip that. We can just hard focus on that slash, and the heat can just kind of do its own thing. The slash is the big one. So, with that in mind, I think the pure damage from pressure point might be a good one. It would be additive with Killing Blow if I recall, but that's still damage. Range wouldn't be a terrible pickup as well, because the range on this is a little bit shit. I think that might be the way. We go pure damage and range, and then you just heavy attack to your heart's content.
44 is a really big number, less than 3. Good evening, everybody.
I'm sorry, the way the emote was read out. 44 is a really big number, less than 3. Yes. That classical meaning of less than. Yes. Oh, I love it. Really, thank you very much for your 44-month free sub. Looking forward to 3 months next month. Cheers. Oh dear, pun not intended. Oh, I can see it wasn't intended, but it's absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Gaming 0D007. Oh, Gaming God. Sorry, I didn't see the second G there. Gaming God 007. Suggesting a dispatch overdrive in the Excellent slot, and honestly, I think you are completely correct. There's no better choice to go there, because we don't want Tennokai. It's not a Tennokai weapon, weirdly enough, and so dispatch overdrive is the way. And I think with that, we'd have range, damage, damage again, wind up speed again, crit damage again, crit chance twice on heavy attacks, which should cover a bunch of it. Status damage. There's some status chance in there, but we don't care about it. It's mostly the status damage it's there for. Heavy attack efficiency, initial combo. Actually, what is the other elementalist? Heavy attack wind-up speed. If I don't care about the status chance that much, it might be better to go for that one. And then that would free up a slot elsewhere. Because either this one could go, although we lose some of the base damage that it gives us, or this one could be swapped out to be more appropriate. Or I could just stack them all together and have all of the heavy attack wind-up speed. Honestly, not the worst decision. But there is that attack speed coming out of the attack. Let's see. Now, how much better does it feel if I just slap on quickening for the moment? Just to get that attack speed feel. Because you might just want to put that in. Yeah, I think taking out a mod for that is not a smart idea. I think you can put that in with a arcane on the Warframe. That'd be better. Because this is not achievable with an arcane, but attack speed is. You could just go... that's melee damage. You can do. Yeah, there it is. Arcane Strike. You could absolutely go that direction. It's all decisions. You can twiddle things around to your heart's content. I mean, there was also, yeah, the melee damage one from Arcane Fury, at which point you could probably take out Prime Pressure Point here, and then that can be replaced with your attack speed, and actually I think that ends up with a higher overall bonus, doesn't it? Now that actually does end up with a higher overall bonus. Because this is 180, which is obviously higher than 165. Whilst this is 60%, but Berserker gets to 70%. So, yeah, that's technically higher. And it's only on crit, not on kill or anything. So go with that. And then, was it the other Galvanized mod we wanted in? No, we took that out intentionally. It was Reach. Primed Reach is the last bit I wanted there. So let's put normal Reach for the moment, just to remind myself what mod should go there. Oh, fair enough, dog sleep time. Alright then. Your neighbourhood has had its fill of Kengineering. Understandable. That extra slot was going to be Dispatch Overdrive. I can't quite equip that just yet. There's a reminder mod, so I'll get there. Yeah, copy. The Arcane having the wrong name, as it were, that annoys me too. It's a small thing, but it annoys me too. Yeah, I think with Dispatch Overdrive, that would just be the build. So let's level this up and then just see how it performs, I suppose. For leveling purposes, let's just take off the rest. We don't want them. And let's upgrade into weapon maxing. Oh, that one's got Avenger on there. We want to swap that out. Just because of the build. Leave to base of operations. And let's just go Leech out of ESO, I suppose. That should level it nice and quickly. Do I have affinity boost? I do not. Well, let's fix that real quick. It's a small affinity boost, but it's still a boost. Can make the difference between finishing in one fewer round or not. Yeah. Is killing blow damage additive or multiplicative to Prime Pressure Point? It is additive to Prime Pressure Point. However, will the 165 be better than 120? Whilst technically true, we'd be losing some of our wind-up speed. And I think for that difference in damage, I'd rather have the wind-up speed, to be honest. Just makes them flow a bit better. It is the Affinity Blessing I would like to do. There we go. And then immediately leave the area, because we don't want to receive thanks. We don't want that. No thanks needed. Enjoy the blessing, whoever was there. Alright then. Let's go definitely not Leech. You just got my buff? No, you didn't. Nope, I'm receiving no thanks for it. Nope, didn't happen. I will admit, when I went to go check Barrow the other day, I went in and gave out a shield blessing. It seemed like the correct thing to do. Do I think this new Tonfest is going to be the king of Tonfest or still Cronin Prime? Cronin Prime is still right the way up there. Cronin, Praedos, they just still work. Cronin is stronger, Praedos is wider, and has more utility. And that is the breakdown of it. Alright then. Prime Reach is going to be beautiful on this, but until we have it, we got what we got. The melee influence is probably still just going to be the power build. I'm trying to make the gimmick on this thing work, be useful, but I'll be honest, I don't know how useful it's going to be. I am at 30 stacks, so I have got the full bonus, which is what, 120% heat? So, that's more damage. But we're also not looking to utilize that heat. Is a thing. So what's the joke of most relays having instance 1, 2, 3, and then 69? I mean, it is just because it's nice to have, yeah. Haha, funny internet number. That is it. That is the entire purpose. Stompers have a funny visual bug? That they do. Oops, I got nullified. How's it doing on the levels? Only 19. Give more. I demand more, damn it. What's the kills like? I'm second for kills. I suppose if I added some gas, might do some more. Yeah, don't know if it's doing lots more, but it's going to do some more.
Data
26? Oh, come on! If I had an affinity boost... Ah, well, it's fine, it's fine, it's the thing. Slam go burr. Let's be honest. Heavy slam just go burr. Don't want to hitch that. 28, nearly there. Is it bad to just put Omniformer on every mod slot for weapons? I mean, if you're rich, have at it. Who's going to stop you? Otherwise, what do you think you're achieving? Just out of curiosity, what's the purpose? If you're having fun and it's a video game, then alright, off you pop. Do what you want. Will it break the weapon and make it unusable? Absolutely not. Will it make it a god? Nope. Will it apply a whole bunch of Omniformers so you can put whatever mod into whatever slot and not have to worry about the polarity? Yes, literally and only that. Cause negative results on capacitive use Umbra Former. Well, not Umbra Former, Umbra mods. And sure, yeah, that would affect if you're using sacrificial mods, which mostly only applies to glaives. Just the sheer nature of the benefits they can get from the sac set. Most times, you're better off without the sacrificial mods. Most of the time, anyway. Had to do it on Warframes plus 1 or 2 Umbral Formers in certain frames. Honestly, on most frames, you could get away with just leaving 1 or 2 slots empty rather than Umbral Formering them. If you ever want to use an Umbral mod there, by reducing the capacity of all the others, you'll be fine. A full set of Umbrals, even if you go that far, is 48 drain, and a Warframe will have typically 72 total capacity, so that's going to leave you, what, 24 capacity left over on the other 5 or 6 mod slots. So 24, take out the non-rounded ones, it's got 19, 38 plus a 5 back, 43 drain in other mods. Oak Engineer, cool. Sure, we're out of the squad now, but yeah.
Sanctuary will go on without you.
More mods on Omniformes are actually neutral, not negative. True, there is that, yeah. Some values we got from full form frames given extra capacity gives starting energy. I don't know if it's really that worth it. If you want to do it, sure, but it's really not going to be that worth it the vast majority of the time. If you really need starting energy that much, one of these gives you 45% of max energy filled. One Archon Shard. They are. That person asking, just experimenting experimenting mod setups, trying to understand how numbers work in the game. I don't think you need to use Omniform on every mod slot on a weapon to experiment with setups. The majority of weapons are going to use V polarity mods in a significant chunk of their modding. V polarity mods just do so much. Like if we have a look at the Tonka here, what have I got in terms of polarity here? I have V, 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 and a singular D polarity. V polarities are absolutely monstrously overrepresented when it comes to weapon modding. They are your bread and butter for so many things. And with that alone in mind, plus maybe a D polarity somewhere, you have pretty much every setup covered. So you don't need to get to the point of going, oh, let's omniform everything. Even if you are highly investing into a shotgun. Let's see, did I put a lot of former into this, Sobek? Yep. Even highly investing into a shotgun, I still didn't end up putting a polarity here. Maybe if I needed to fill in this spot. And we're going again, V, 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 V. Couple dashes, one of which is for a Riven, and a D polarity over here. But 4 V's already taking the storm there. That gets you so far in testing things out. Omnis are really only if you need multiple different setups on the same item, and you just can't otherwise get around it. Yeah, say if... that would be a good enough example. If you're on a really, really tight setup that on one side uses no D polarity mods, but then on the next config uses 2 D polarity mods, maybe then you need to work it in there. That's going to be the limit of it. There's very few cases you need to have Omnis to really make builds happen. Very few cases. Alright. With the Tomcat fully leveled, let's slap one of those formers we're talking about in here right now. One of those normal formers, please. Over that V polarity. There we go. Reach is currently a 4 drain. Primed reach is a 14 drain, so that 8 is not going to fit. Although, it's only a 12 mod. I wonder if I can do... Nope, still can't quite fit that. Still doesn't quite fit like that. That's fine. That is fine for the moment. I can at least upgrade this to a proper reach for now. But yeah, another former there. And then Prime Reach can go in. We'll have 5 left over. How much is it for that Dispatch Overdrive? 9, of course it is. So I'm going to need another Former again after that. 2 Formers, we'll have this finished. 2 Formers to finish. Just check. Yep. Alright, let's go get those 2 more levels done. Is Crypt there for reduced combo duration? Nope, it's there for the initial combo. Do I have a Redeemer Prime build? I have an old one. There's been quite a few mods and changes introduced since then, so it's not going to be up to date. I've stopped using that weapon. Alright, back to slamming. No, I got nullified. My poor raw bonus, whatever shall I do? Just slamming down gas procs wherever I can. Isn't it weird when you think about it that if our weapons can deliver these gas clouds that just sit there and kill enemies, why can't we deploy the gas clouds without the enemies? Why do I need a target for a gas cloud to spawn on it? Why can't I just, you know, fill the area with gas? From a gameplay standpoint, it's an obvious answer. But from a game logic standpoint, make it make sense. Boiling the blood of our enemies. I mean, a boiled thing would indeed become gas by very definition, sure. Not sure it's the gas. And some of these enemies don't have blood, but you know. That's why elements combine alchemically instead of science. Ah, true, yes. We are in an alchemical universe. Canonically. You're very right. I realised for all the heavy attack wind speed I put in, I've just been slamming for most of this. How am I doing on the level? 26. Just needed to add gas, that's what it was. Gas go burr. Remember when gas was bad? I mean, gas isn't amazing, it's just we've gained so many other things to turn it around. And the main addition that brought it up, it's 27, is that it lingers after enemy death. That's the big deal. But it's still one of the weakest damaging types, because it doesn't scale off toxin mods, it doesn't scale off heat mods. It's limited to 10 procs, so you need to have a reliable source of those procs, but not too reliable that you end up wasting procs. Okay, host migration. Hello, Saminator. Are you joining the bots in welcoming our followers now? Fair enough. That's one thing I'm sure is at least a little noticeable. I don't make a point of it almost ever, because why would I? But it is true that when it comes to follows on the channel, we have the bot, we have the overlay, it all happens there. I don't usually call out follows bit by bit. One, I don't want to be watching the chat for individual follows. That means reading every bot message, and that just goes further. Two, there are those who follow but don't want to be called out, they're just lurking. And 3, I'll be quite honest, certainly if we get a flurry of follows, the stream ends up being nothing but, hey, thanks for following. I've had that experience before now, both doing it myself previously and watching streams where it happens. I'm like, can we get on a stream? So, nothing wrong with Anyone who does, it's just a personal preference of mine that I don't make a big song and dance about follows. In case anyone was wondering why I seem to ignore that all the time. It is intentional, but it's not malicious. I'm not dono walling, thanks. Alright, how are we doing? We should be... yeah, we're max level. Cool. Like I say, a couple more former, the one after this, and then one more. We'll have it fully set up as high as the weapon can reasonably go, and then see what we can get out of it. I was just leaving the relay to get away from tanks. This is true. I did sprint away from that. I left pretty much as quickly as I could. The Mirage, I somehow doubt that the Infestors are going to come up and try opening these lockers, but it's a nice try. Alright, convoy appears. I make sure not to go through it. We're all good.
A data conduit is open. Go now.
Could actually be fun to see a Scaldra built gas train, like they did with Protea in the Corpus. Maybe. I mean, it wasn't built by the Corpus. Protea was designed for Parvos, but it wasn't designed by Parvos, is my understanding. Plus, Parvos kind of straddled the line between Corpus and Orokin tech, whereas Scaldra is so far behind. Literally a different era, it shouldn't qualify. Cheers, Leslie. Any recommendations for the Dex Sybaris Incarnon in terms of modding? I'll be honest, I don't have an eidetic memory of the Dex Sybaris, so I can't give you some direct recommendations on that. Simply not sure on that. Ultimately, have a look at the stats. What kind of weapon is it? What are you trying to achieve with it? Any opinions from Seminator on whether we should eventually receive Prime Faction mods for Murmur Scaldra Tekrot? Ooh, okay. Interesting question. Leslie asking also, why do I do 2 rounds at a time? Let me answer that quick one real quick. I'm leveling a weapon, not looking for rewards. It's leveled, so I'm done. Alright, back to the complicated question. When it comes to faction mods, they're in a very curious place, because on the one hand, they are best in slot for a lot of different actions. They are very powerful. And so people are wanting more of those. It makes sense. Why would we have entire factions where we can't just apply faction bonuses to them? Realistically, shouldn't they exist? And I don't see a reason why not to introduce that, other than to just quietly nerf various setups, which I'm not on board with that if that's the intention. I'm not on board with that. And it's not like it's hard to introduce mods, is it? If anything, it's weird that those mods didn't exist at the point of release. What are they holding out for? Those are some pertinent questions, and I'm not sure we're going to get answers on. But there is another aspect that has been brought up. Another aspect, which is perhaps it's time to stop having faction-specific mods. Perhaps it's time to do away with that. Now, I'm on the fence with this, because if you're swapping damage types, you can swap faction mods. That's already an option up there. But it is also true that if you go for a faction mod, and you go into a mission with more than one faction, you have a bonus now that is only applying to part of the mission. This is kind of true of damage types as well. If you have a corrosive focus for dealing with armor, and the tech rods show up, they don't have armor, you've got a bonus that doesn't actually work against them. If you're going in with magnetic, you're only bonused against Xmas units. If you're in an otherwise normally armored mission, there's some trade-off. But still, it is a valid point that a lot of people don't like using faction mods because of having to remember to switch it per setup, per mission type. And I get it. I get it. Me personally, I usually am staying within a single faction environment a lot of the time, not counting the Scaldra Tekrot situation or the the spawning of acolytes. Those are their own separate kettle of fish. But usually, I don't find myself bouncing between factions all the time. But there is an argument for bringing in an Omni Smite. So rather than Prime Smite Corpus, it would just be Smite and Prime Smite. Now this would be a little bit weird in wording. Times 1.55 damage to Corpus becoming times 1.55 damage wouldn't make sense, but it also would give an opportunity to go and update the mod information to make it clear that it applies to damage and then applies again to status effects. That would be an opportunity. Someone is saying Sculptor Techrot situation can be solved with a Bane 1999 mod. True, I see that. Yeah, you could have Prime Smite History. Prime Smite Hulvania. And so it would just then say times 1.55 damage to Techrot, and then a new line times 1.55 damage to Skuldra, both on the same line. Absolutely valid. Miss Rosie Dover saying, wouldn't an Omni Bane mod not just be a damage mod in its base? Well, no, it's not. It wouldn't just be a damage mod, because it's still different to how Pressure Point works, to how Serration works, to how a Acolyte Arcane works. It's still functionally different. But yeah, it's a toughie, honestly. And I imagine a lot of it, if I'm quite honest, just comes down to laziness. We can put in primed damage mods. We can put in primed faction mods, or just faction mods. We can just use them. But despite the fact that these exist and elemental variation exists, there's just friction to using it, which is really weird. If we think about it, it is pretty damn weird. I mean, sure, if you're going into a mission with a melee influence build, you're just using electric, or maybe electric viral, maybe electric gas, whatever floats your boat. You're not really caring about the enemy's resistances and weaknesses. You just go in and hit them with the electric and watch them die anyway. I get it. Tough is quite frankly my answer to that. If you want to go into a mission and actively just not focus on the weaknesses of the enemies, that's your prerogative. That is your prerogative. And at the same time then, you can just not use the smite mods. But if you're going to go down that road, deal with it then. It's the same as the fact that Condition Overload exists, and Galvanized Savvy, Galvanized Aptitude, Galvanized Shot. You can get extra damage out of that if you prime your target first. A lot of people don't want to use status primers. I often don't use status primers because I am playing lazily. I have admitted this a million times in the past, and will continue to admit it. But when I do put in the effort, when I do use a status primer correctly, the damage shoots up. How is that any different from using a smite mod? You have to equip a specific other item to create the priming setup to then use a specific mod. How is it different? So ultimately, I don't feel that a universal smite mod needs to exist. If anything, it would take away from some of the flavor and interest in Warframe. If you want something that buffs up pure damage, we have things like Pressure Point. If you want things that buff up status damage, we have Elementalist. If you want something that buffs both, conditionally, we have the smite mods and we have Raw. I would rather... Yeah, I think I'd rather CD just get around to implementing the other missing faction mods, or otherwise acknowledge that it's an intentional nerf, in which case, why? And at the same time, it's about time to update Raw's information. This shouldn't just say increased damage. It should explain itself. Keywording, as ever, is a problem in Warframe. So yeah, it's a bit of a complicated question, and I know that the community is absolutely not monolithic in its opinion on it. But that's where I would kind of stand on it. Copy saying there's an argument of efficiency where a lot of priming and bane mods just not being necessary in content where you can kill things already, so needing to actively prime or swap mods between missions would slow you down if anything. I get that. I absolutely get that, Copy even. If you are playing in a mission where you already kill everything as quickly as you physically could, then a primer is unnecessary. You're correct. There are missions where that isn't correct though, and that's where those other setups come into play. Because of the sheer power level we continuously push further and further into, that means that there are fewer and fewer missions where such priming is significant. That is also a fact. But you're absolutely right. If you are already min-maxed to the point of one-shotting, then going for that faction approach or going for that status priming approach doesn't matter. You're absolutely correct. That's all part of min-maxing. If I go into a relic mission off of Seal Path, I'm wanting more mobility because I want to complete the mission faster, not hit an enemy for 2 billion damage rather than 2 million damage. That's just min-maxing. It still doesn't change the reality that there are those options to make more invested and focused builds. I don't know how many of you, there's going to be plenty, but I don't know how many of you here in this chat at the moment were around when builds basically came down to Serration, crits, viral, hunt munitions. It was just that. Pretty much every rifle was just get your crits, get your hunter munitions, and either viral it yourself or put viral from a primer. Just be done with it. What's that? You're up against armor? Slash viral. What's that? You have low status chance? Slash viral. What's that? You're up against the corpus? Slash viral. Infested? Doesn't matter, they're already dead. Steel Path didn't exist. Challenge didn't exist. Wasn't that long ago? I mean, it's long enough ago. Plenty of people have started playing since that was a thing. It was long enough ago. So, when you consider now the modding variety we have, there's still plenty of staple items you'll use, but we do have much more variety. We do have plenty of options all over the place. And Fretius is indeed hitting on a correct point that we have ended up in a bit of a repeat of this with melee influence. Yes. But melee influence is more of a zoom and boom meta level rather than Hunter Moo Moo level of meta. So the reason influence is everywhere isn't because it has the correct way of doing damage, because the slash viral approach, it bypassed the need for status chance to get the slash, and the slash was bypassing needing to deal with armor, and armor was a much bigger problem then, and it applied to any weapon that could deal crits on your primary. Instead, we've moved into Zoom and Boom and then Melee Influence, which is all about the application meta. It doesn't matter how hard you can kill one target in a game where you want to be killing 100 targets per second. Application meta. Would hunt viral, so slash viral, still work on any weapon steel path? I mean, it works. Is it the correct choice? Not necessarily. Slash is a lot weaker than it used to be because armor is capped at 90%. It no longer scales into oblivion, and at the same time, enemy hit points were increased, so the amount of power you get out of slash has been reduced. Spending a mod slot on functionally a 30% chance of slash isn't anywhere near as good as it could be these days. It's a 30% output of slash. There's a lot of other things you can do with more meta weapons these days, especially. The stats we have to work with overall have gone up. So yeah. As part of the reason that Lavos' Valence Formation is so amazing is because where Hunter Munition applies 30% slash of max on having permanent crits, this applies to all weapons, not just your primary. It applies to all elemental and combined damage types, and its application bonus is 100%, not 30%, on top of a damage bonus of tripling that effect at most as well. When you stack all of that together, this one mod, this is Hunter Munitions on absolute steroids. This is what Hunter Munitions could never dream of being. Hunter Munitions would need to be over 3 times as reliable to proc, and 3 times as damaging, and 3 times as applicable to your arsenal to be Valence Formation. This is 27 times better than Hunter Munitions. The meta has moved forwards. As is always going to happen in a game like Warframe, a live service updated game, the meta moves forwards, and that's where we're at. Hence, application meta. And Melee Influence is an amazingly strong application meta. There's no getting around it. It just is. I'll also say, I'd argue there's always going to be stuff that's better. No disagreement there. Just like there to be fewer oppressively superior options, which Slash Viral 100% was. Yeah, Slash Viral was just the correct option back then. You could armor strip, you could try for corrosive bonuses and whatnot, but usually Slash Viral just got the job done quickest. It was just the correct answer all the time. But at least with Influence, it's just absurdly good, but other options still keep up with the majority of mission requirements. It's just that Melee Influence dials it up to 11. It doesn't make a mission more possible, but it does make it where missions are much easier. It is a little oppressive in its placement. And if DE choose to address that, most likely they're going to end up nerfing Influence. I'm going to be honest on that. The alternative of just making everything more AoE isn't going to be a healthy direction for the game. And it's not like we're going to be given another overhaul to content levels and damage application to make it where Melee Influence without change would no longer be so oppressive. So it's simply going to come down to the Melee Influence is likely to see a nerf. Very likely to see a nerf. I don't know when, but I do consider that quite likely. Maybe it's next month, maybe it's 2 years from now.
Honestly, am I weird for being upset at the way they fixed Valence Formation and similar bonuses? The conversion of those into plus status damage feels cheap and makes those semi-new special mods a lot less special and effective overall. I might even go so far as calling it a shadow nerf to those abilities.
So when you say the semi-new special mods, I think you're meaning like Melee Elementalist?
Guess who it is for 17 months in a row. Ow, you the ED engineer. Upset that the EDM is gone, but we still ball chat. Kinky poke snack, kinky esprit, kinky shiv, kinky explode.
Does anyone notice a difference between messages sent by Flo and the messages sent by Queen? There is quite a difference there. Queen, thank you very much for the resub. Up onto 29 months of your Prime there. Much appreciated, Queen. And I hope you have yourself a wonderful weekend. Cheers. And we also got a hydrate from Ryan. Oh. Cheers. So, yeah, from Flo, I disagree. If you wish to be upset, you can be upset. I can't control your ability to be upset, I'll be quite honest. I get where you're coming from with the change to Valence Formation and similar bonuses, and at first I was resistant to it too. I figured that it was a little bit of a hack job, but let's expand the perspective on this real quickly. For anyone who missed it, for anyone who doesn't understand what's going on here, Valence Formation, previously when it first came out, it applied as a straight up elemental buff. If you applied heat to a already heat weapon, then the heat procs you would get would be buffed as well. If you applied the heat to an electric weapon, you would get radiation rather than a heat and electric procs. DE then changed that. They went, hang on, with the release of Kome, we've realised this is causing problems. It's about time, let's rip this band-aid off. We're now going to change it to all these kinds of buffs, be it Valence Formation, be it Kome's Decrees, be it Shock Trooper, be it Thermal Sunder with Thermal Transfer, all of these are now going to be separate from the elemental setup of your weapons. You'll no longer turn your weapon from electric into radiation unintentionally or otherwise. If you want it to be intentional, go get a radiation buff. It exists in multiple different places. But in doing so, it removed the elemental bonus from the status damage. So if you had a weapon with 100 damage, where its procs are usually 50 damage per second in the case of heat, and you applied a Valence Formation bonus, the weapon would go from 100 damage to 300 damage, but the proc would go from 50 to 50, rather than 150 like it did before the change. So it was nerfed. The fix to that made it where the bonus on the status proc is now a status damage bonus, not an elemental one. So we still get to keep the non-combining elements, meaning you can have both heat and electric, or heat and cold, or heat and toxic, you know the combos. Those basic combos on the same weapon. It means that any bonuses being spread out by, say, a Thermal Sunder on a Gauss, or a heat bonus coming off of Temple by getting a Decree on Kome, you wouldn't unintentionally have your weapon screwed over. You wouldn't go from an electric melee influence build to a radiation dead in the water build. That's a great thing. And we still get the majority, if not more, damage as a result of getting status damage from these kind of bonuses. So that is just a benefit as well. Overall, we get more damage, or at least the same as we had before. It's not like Zarta's Whisper Doctor Sleep Time, that's a separate hit, not a separate bonus. It's a different thing. Now, Flo is absolutely right, this is a nerf to status damage mods like Melee Elementalist. If you are running a Valence Formation or Thermal Transfer or Ripper's Whale build, then going for status damage modding is a loss compared to going matched element buff. Because the status damage bonus that is granted by those abilities is just going to be so much higher, and it is additive to this. But it's only applying to the matching type. So if you've got a melee influence electric melee setup, and you've got a temple giving you a massive heat bonus, that heat status damage bonus is not going to improve your electric. It'll have zero effect on it that way. So in regards to that, you still want to use the status damage bonus yourself, and maybe try and not have all of your electric washed out by Ripper's Whale. That's still a downside. Overall, I don't think it really ruins anything. It's a different way of looking at it. It means that ability-based bonuses are different. It's just a new category to think about. A category which is conditionally additive, rather than just, it is the same as another existing category. It's a bit of a weird one. Warframe is full of weird things. From the fact that non-combining elements led to this status damage issue, and then we got the piecemeal introduction of a fix for this issue, it would seem to me that DE's code is restricting their ability to make it work otherwise. In order to make it whereas non-combining, they needed to do something with where it was in the equation, which took out the elemental bonus, and the only way they could bring that back in without damaging the actual ability to use the buff as intended was to bring it back as a status damage bonus. And to be quite honest, if that's the situation they're in, that they're dealing with that level of spaghetti code or just restricted code, that they would need to spend a lot of time refactoring, I will take it. It's a little bit more confusing, it's a little bit more involved, and it hits a different group of mods. It's still a group of mods being affected. If it wasn't status damage mods, it would be element mods. Ultimately, we have something that gives us the full benefits we're supposed to be having. I don't know that if I were in their shoes, I could justify spending all that time refactoring that code once again just to appease the idea of making Melee Elementalist and other Elementalist mods matter a bit more. I don't think that's worth it. I just don't think that's worth it. So yeah, I get where you're coming from, Flo. I get that it seems a bit weird, and if you want to be cynical about it, it seems like a cheap hack rather than a actual fix. It has changed the design of those features, and if D came out and made it clear that they're changing the design to accommodate the code-based requirements, I think the player base would accept that. Instead, it's pitched as just a fix, and we've ended up with different functionality. It feels weird. Certainly if you're expecting it to work as it was before, you're going to have a negative reaction to that. I initially did too. But looking at it from a fuller perspective, it's good enough. In some cases, it's actually a buff. I'll take it. I'll take it. there are better things to argue with, such as why the hell are some mods still completely incorrect? If you want to complain about something, here's one to complain about. Broslime complains about it, I complain about it, Arkham Vitality. Most of this mod is incorrect. If you want to complain about something, complain about that. Yeah. On the topic of elements, how would I scale them on a scale from 1 to 10? Do you mean rate them? Also, I've covered elements in the element guide, so check that out. To be honest, that gives you your rating without using just numbers. Right, Porfin, you had a highlighted message. I didn't want to ignore it, but there was a big point to go through there. Porfin saying, thing with influence, it is popularity largely is because it allows most melees to compete in kills per minute. Compete and overwhelm, don't forget. What do we use before influence? Glaives and a select few melees that could do viral slash. If influence gets nerfed into the ground, what we'll use glaives and slam melee. As rest of melee simply cannot compete with KPM. They don't have the range or limited by follow through. In my way, they should first try removing follow through, maybe then nerf influence. Okay. I get where you're coming from in the removing of follow through. I don't think just removing it is the correct way because it is still a balancing tool to make different weapons interestingly different. It's a way to have melees have broad swings that look nice without them all becoming super multi-target items. It's like the difference between a pinpoint precision weapon and a wide body projectile and an AoE weapon. I wouldn't want to see it just removed outright there. It's a balancing factor. But you're absolutely right that before influence it was melees with wide areas like glaives, and the reason for that is again the same thing I said earlier, it's the application meta. It doesn't matter how much damage you have if you can't apply it. You want to be able to apply your damage. AoE applies your damage better. If I wanted to be really pushing the boat out there, one of the simplest, this is risking it, one of the simplest potential fixes for AoE application, and this is a sledgehammer of a fix. This is a tactical nuke to the greenhouse of shaky choices. It's not line of sight flow. Divide AoE by the number of targets it hits. Think about it for a moment. Think about just how much that would shatter various types of AoE meta, as it were. If you were to take an AoE weapon that deals 1 million damage, but hit 10 targets, you've dealt 100k per target. Now, I'm not talking about how you code this, I'm not talking about how this will be implemented, because this is the farthest edge of speculation. It's not even a suggestion. I'm just putting it out there that when it comes to AoE, a big part of the application meta is the infinite scaling nature of it. Glaives have no fall off on their explosion a lot of the time. When it comes to melee follow through, if you have a 1.0 follow through, there is 100% application per target. If you have punch through, it's 100% application per target. Even with weapons and AoEs that do have fall off, that fall off isn't per target, it's just distance based. The more targets you hit at once, the more power you get. The weapon itself isn't better, it's just more things are in position to die. Gaming saying that would negatively affect a lot of weapons that have already been nerfed. You're saying that like one change happens on its own and nothing else ever happens around it. Separate issue. My point there is that this is just one of the many different theories of tweaking that could be applied. When it comes to the different natures of different metas in Warframe and how they come to be, there is always another aspect that can be just completely added in. There is always another aspect that can be changed, another lever to pull, another dial to tweak, and that is just one of them. The application currently is just a straight multiplier, and it doesn't technically have to be. You look at, for example, I forget the name of it right now, Temple's first ability. Where's the name of it? Pyrotechnics, there it is. Temple's Pyrotechnics first ability, that actually has this kind of feature already. If you're targeting one enemy, pretty much all the pillars will be clustered on or around that enemy takes a lot of damage. If you target 20 enemies, and you've got 20 pillars, that's one pillar per enemy, they all take bugger all damage. So yeah, There are many different ways of addressing the different metas and addressing what's strong, what's not. Ultimately, application of damage is the single biggest driver in Warframe's meta. It always has been and always will be. The faster you can apply lethal damage to the greatest number of targets, the more powerful that setup is going to be. And melee influence at the moment is that thing for melee. No argument, no discussion on it. It just is. That damn good. From Ari and Drake, absolutely disagree. D should go ahead and fix the code and make these augments function as they used to before the change in the Komi update. In regards to how it performs in DOT formula, I don't think having these augments being in the same bucket as status damage is a good change, especially when it comes to hella confusing for new people. Okay. Well, you're welcome to disagree on that. You want D to spend a lot of time making something that work in a different way because it can confuse new players. And otherwise you just disagree with it. Okay. You're welcome to have that opinion. I think you're wrong. I've given my reasons already. But you're welcome to disagree. New players are confused to absolute shit about everything anyway, especially when things like this exist where just straight up wording on the mod is incorrect. Someone asked earlier if I could explain what's wrong with this. The first row, plus 100% health, that works. It didn't used to. It used to be plus 440% health. D had to fix how health worked in this game because those mods were confusing as well. Status effects from abilities that deal heat damage will be applied twice. Everything about this is wrong. Everything about this is wrong. Status effects from abilities isn't what we're working with. It's heat procs from abilities. Heat procs from abilities that deal heat procs, not heat damage, will apply an additional heat proc. Not twice. It deals an additional heat proc. So if it was status effects from abilities that deal heat damage, if you had any other status effects on that ability, they would be doubled as well. They're not. If it was doubling the heat procs, or any other procs that are being applied, when Lavos casts its 4, and gets those heat procs that can be double stacked because you infused heat, you would get 4 procs, but you actually get 3. This mod is just incorrect. The mod is just incorrect. Abilities that apply heat procs apply an additional heat proc. It's not exactly hard to explain what it actually does. But that's not what the mod says. And it's been like that since release. So yeah. If you want to complain about things being confusing in the game, let's start with where the game just lies to you. That would be where I'd start. Then we can get on to maybe explaining more as to how the equations function for people who want to know about that. Sure. Temple saying, just the way they changed Exalted, people seeking numbers lost out for the sake of accessibility. You're about something I'm not following, sorry. They should change the bonus to gas proc since it's gaslighting you. Ha! What if it always was, but they coded it incorrectly? Who knows? But no, seriously, yeah. Arc of Vitality is just wrong, and it's not the only mod that misleads or lies to you. Let's not forget how many people get utterly bamboozled by... Damn, it's on here. Galvanized Aptitude. On kill, plus 40% direct damage per status type affecting the target for 20 seconds. Stacks up to 2 times. I'm going to intentionally misread this now. I'm not going to... Sorry, no, I'm going to intentionally misinterpret it. Not misread it. I'm going to read it as it says, but I'm going to misinterpret it. Plus 40% direct damage. Okay, cool. So it's damage that hits them directly. Got it. So AoE's unaffected because it's not direct, right? Probably. But if it's direct damage, it hits. Got it. So plus 40% direct damage per status type affecting a target for 20 seconds. Okay. So if the target has 3 statuses on it, that's plus 120% damage. Cool. I got that. Oh, wait. No, affecting the target for 20 seconds. Right, okay, yeah. So once the heat proc has been on the target for 20 seconds, then we get 40% extra damage. And for every other status, we need to make sure they're affected by that status for 20 seconds in order for them to be affected by this. Got it. Stacks up to 2 times. Oh, so a max of 2 statuses. So if there's a heat on them and a tox on them, and both of them have been there for 20 seconds, then we get 80% extra damage. Man, why do people like this mod so much? I'm not misreading the mod, I'm misinterpreting it. If we wait for 20 seconds of up to 2 different types on a target, we get 80% damage. That's what it says. That's what it says. Now we can reinterpret this another way. Okay, plus 40% direct damage per status type affecting a target for 20 seconds. And we're going to get this. This is the bonus that we get for 20 seconds, which is closer to reality now. Still, the stacks up to 2 times, 2 statuses. Is that not what it says? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's the 20 seconds that stacks. So it's for 20 seconds, stacks up to 2 times, now it's 40 seconds. Wait, I never see it go to 40 seconds in the UI. Is that not what happens then? Yeah. Stop saying supposed to, you don't exactly know how they're functioning. Who are you speaking to? Because you didn't reply to someone. How to delete message? You don't. I want you to spend a lot of time to fix code they broke in the first place, and then when they fixed it, decided to go somewhere it's not supposed to be. Ba 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 ba. Arianda, you're again welcome to your opinion on it. I literally just gave a whole point against, like, both for and against that. We had that conversation. So you're just restating the very same discussion I went through earlier. But being a bit more aggressive about it. I'm going to leave you there. So honestly, the explanation on it is insufficient. On kill, plus 40% direct damage per unique status type affecting the target. Buff lasts 20 seconds. Buffs can stack twice. I suppose that gets us closer. I don't know if that would get around the whole per status type. We heard you, Arianda. We heard you. You believe DE should fix it. Okay. Make it sound like it's not that good of a mod now? I don't know what you mean by that, Ryan. Yeah. And I haven't even touched on the additive, multiplicative, and non-applicative effect of this. You're very right. Yeah, there are more features going on with this one beyond just the wording being confusing. So, things like that are kind of all over the place. I wouldn't mind mods being given an explanation tab. When they start to get complicated, you know how you can mod over some things... mouse over, not mod over. Mouse over some things and get further information or tab through. Do we have a tab one around here somewhere? I mean, I know there's been some tab abilities. In fact... here we go. Tab, tab, tab. When something gets really complicated, you can tab through it. They've implemented this. I would like to see more of this. This is the way forwards. It's unobtrusive, because if you're just looking at a mod like Galvanized Aptitude, you've just got the details. But they could have it where it says at the top left, tab for info. You tab, and you get the better explanation of what's going on. Simple as that. Just tab for more info. You're over here. You're looking at fire rate. Tab for more info. Because it's got a locked icon here at the moment. Okay, tab for more info. Why is it locked? Or just mousing over, to be honest. There's not a lot in this box. Give me the more info. Fall off should be corrected because fall off in other places is incorrect. Where's a... Hold on. I think I'd need a glaive for this. Yeah. Fall off is currently incorrect. Damage varies depending on the distance to the target. Damage is higher if closer than the first distance and minimal beyond the second distance. 40%. Bits like that. That's where the clarity needs to come in. And D can spend their time on that rather than coding minutia. Also, by the way, that fall off one has been wrong for over a year now. I forget how long it's been. It's been a while. It's been a while that one's been wrong. Did I finish leveling up that? I don't think I did. Now, for goodness sake, Kenneth. There we are. Spell it correctly. Alright, oh, I still need to do another leveling round on this. Boop. That's upgraded. Alright, let's go level it again. Why so green, Dante? It was designed in homage to the level 99 mage gear found in Daemonheim on RuneScape. That's why. It's a reference. Porfun saying, Incarnants, for example, tend to get under full efficiency from condition overload, while projectiles get significantly better versions of it. Yeah, code and inconsistency. It's not something that can be easily fixed. I mean, let's get a quick check here in chat. Why are there so few enemies? Are they all dying somewhere? Let's get a quick check here. How many people here in this chat right now, and be honest with me, how many people in this chat have absolutely nothing that they could fix or do right now? Nothing whatsoever. There are no dishes to clean, there's no clothing to put away or iron, there's no appointments you need to set up, there's no homework or housework of any kind you've got that you could be doing. And I'm not saying that you are required to do it right now, this is your free time. Is there anyone here who's got absolutely nothing productive or useful they could be doing? So no political canvassing, no helping out to your local party, no checking in on your grandparents to see how they're doing. Is there anyone here who's got absolutely nothing that they could be doing other than relaxing right now? Arianda, excellent. Okay, the one person complaining about this has said they have. Excellent, because it's late at night? Nope, that's not a reason. I'm not saying that it's not the time to do it, I'm saying that there's nothing at all that you could be doing. You want to tell me that your life literally has everything finished, Arianda? Nothing whatsoever could possibly be done. But there is no task that you've gone, I've run out of time, I'll do it tomorrow. Your task list of every kind whatsoever is empty, there is nothing to do tomorrow, except for what starts to need to be done tomorrow. You really want to tell me you've done everything? You've sent that letter to the senator, letting them know about your displeasure about the recent election results. You've helped out at the soup kitchen until there is no more people left to serve soup to. You've cured cancer. You've learned that other language that you're putting off learning. Everything whatsoever. Or is it possible, and this might be a little bit wild as a consideration, is it possible that there might just not be enough time in the day to get everything done? And then by the time the next day rolls around, more things need doing, damn it. Things. There's just so many of them. Maybe it's going a bit far? Nope, not going a bit far whatsoever. The point is, there is always more that can be done. And so, we make our priorities. We make our priorities. You always have a choice in which things you do, and you only have a choice because you can't choose them all. And the same is true in game development. The same is simply true in game development. You don't know how big of an issue it is to fix anything in this game. I don't know. Because we don't have access to the code, we aren't the ones managing the teams. Now, that means we can take two approaches, vaguely, and I'm taking two not exclusive from each other approaches, but there's still two approaches. You got the approach of either trust that they are doing what they can to give us what they can within the confines of the systems they have, or we can assume that they are maliciously lazy, not doing their jobs, intentionally leaving things broken, buggy, and problematic. They'd just rather swanny off and go to the park, listen to cicadas and what have you. Which is it? Do we trust that they're doing their job, or do we trust that they're not doing their job? Which is the healthier approach to take, really, given how little information you actually have? Let he who is without tasks on their to-do list throw the first stone. I think there should be no one throwing stones here. You're watching a Twitch live stream, for God's sake. A lot of people would say, okay, hire more people, but no company has infinite budget either. Not to mention, you can't just put more people on it. There are only so many people can work on the same project at once, or related projects. So yeah, too many cooks in the kitchen situation. A good Twitch live stream? Ah, not a great one? Max ranked, cool.
I have opened a new data conduit. Proceed immediately.
I also say I have a pretty significant amount of confidence if they started messing with damage formulae, there'd be whack-a-moling issues for years afterwards. Probably, yeah. Probably.
Hurry, Hunter. The conduit is closing fast.
There's always an option of getting a game dev job at DE. There is that. And if DE can't afford it, well, you just lower how much you're asking to be paid. That's a choice.
Hunter, the sanctuary will
Yeah.
go on without you.
Ultimately, if we had infinite time to get through our infinite checklist of things to do, sure, it could overall be better. I have my to-do list here. Let me see. How have I done on my to-do list today? Why am I still in a squad? That's unusual. Got that squad there, and I apparently have a friend invite. Big fan of all your vids. Aww. Thank you. Let me have a look. What's on my to-do list here? Let's see. How many things did I not do off of this? Oh, only just the one, actually. I'm good there. That's the daily list. Now, on the weekly stuff, let's see. I did actually do that, so that's good. Did do the food shop. Didn't sweep the kitchen. Whoops. I should have got around to that. I'll have to sweep the kitchen later. What about on the monthly tasks? Didn't get around to that one. I'll have to push that off to next week. What about on general tasks that don't apply to this? I passed that one over to my housemate because he also needs to do some stuff around the house, not just me, so that's fine. Still need to attend to this other one. And deadlines, I'm up to speed on deadlines. And that's just the main list of things. Doesn't even cover the small stuff, doesn't even cover the long-term stuff. Kitchen sweeping stream when? Alright, now you piss me off, Arian. That is bullshit. Fuck off. And we're good. You don't get to do that. Actually, I'm changing that to a ban. I don't want you to come back. Stay away. That was just bullshit. Anyway, phone cut. One more form I needed. Let's have a look here. So, it's going to be for Dispatch Overdrive. Dash Polarity up here will do the trick. Oh, unlock it first. Of course, that makes sense. There we go. Reset that. And there we are. You have some of that former? Find yourself a benefactor. Or just farm it yourself. Whichever works. Beautiful. Right, that is fully modded. This one, I don't think there's anywhere we can reasonably put more power into it right now. The extra pure damage that you'd want on this is being serviced by Arcane Fury specifically. I've got extra faction damage coming from Raw at the moment. So this is the full setup. And it allows the trait to happen. I'll be honest, we're barely using that trait. We are barely using that trait, but it exists. It is present, I guess. So, next question is, take it into a mission. How does it fare? If I slap on Worm again, but take off the weaponry, I just want Worm to be giving crit support. See how it feels. Only the Tomcat, nothing else. If I die, I die. I don't know, Laval, so hopefully won't die, but you know. Welcome back, Mac. Let's set this to solo, and let's start with an Adaro. Let's go with a non-endless mission first, a limited mission. Give that a whirl with the weapon and then see how it fares in a more intense situation. Now, I'm not using any status priming. Status priming could take this further. I'm going to go first without abilities. See how we fare. Getting those kills. I think I should be able to one-tap these and let status do it. Yep, one-tap. Make sure I hit both of them. There we go. So far so good. Oh. Pop the door open. Smack. Smack. Are you going to perish from that? Or are you more resistant? You might be more resistant. Oh, never mind, he died. Didn't take a lot of damage on the first one. I think it was because he was, oh yeah, he was in the animation of swinging, and so I couldn't knock him down, so afflictions couldn't trigger. Like on the Scorpion there, the Scorpion was grappling me, so afflictions didn't trigger. But when afflictions does trigger, I get so much more damage, they just perish. Today you're thanking Brits for liberating Denmark 80 years ago? Fair enough. Let's leave that one there, please. It's a little bit politics adjacent. I'd like to not go down that route, please. Where you at? There you are. Smack. Oh yeah, that'll do the trick. And these are all heavy attacks, but we can just keep on burning out the heavy attacks, because initial combo. Now this is going to be substantially weaker against Xmas units. We need to break their overguard first, so I'm looking forward to an Xmas showing up so we can see that in effect. Heavy unit sounds like Xmas unit. Okay, yeah, so it took the second hit to get through the overguard, but then they just perish. No alarms, thank you. We are doing quite fine without them. Because of animation, she survived. Someone else was doing the alarm? God damn it. Multiple enemies at once going for the alarm is cheating. It's not, but it is. Get smacked. Idiot. I don't want that. Perishes. So yeah, this weapon's demonstrating its ability to hit, and then, as I say, I haven't used any abilities yet. If I added in abilities to this, it will go even further. Ginger Nut, thank you very much for subscribing with your Prime. Welcome on into the channel proper. Enjoy that lovely blue sub badge. Your remotes, your access to the supporter team lounge over on the Discord, and no more ads for you. Cheers. I see to say it, like the philosophy of the Tomcat, voluntarily losing your combo multiplier to help upkeep a non-combining heat damage. It's interesting. Non-combining heat damage, cool. More fun with heat, I suppose. Choosing to spend your combo to regain the combo, I get it. Although, it feels a little odd. The bonus, however, doesn't feel a lot. 120% elemental bonus with no bonus to the status proc feels a little limiting. But the rest of the weapon is still doing the rest of the weapon stuff. So it's not the end of the world. And because we've got guaranteed slash on heavy attacks, I can just use it like a Tonfa, to be honest. Which is what I'm doing so far. The heat doesn't really matter. I think that's the worst issue for me on the bonus, is that it doesn't actually matter. Even if it did have the status damage bonus, would it change how I'm playing? Would it? Maybe I'd want to mod for more status chance. But that's about the extent of it. But I'd go, maybe I would want more status chance. Aside from that, it's just kind of heavy attack forwards. Murder what you can. Not high violence. Can I knock you down? I don't think I can knock you down because you're going to be in animations all the time. Also, your status locked anyway. But you're dead. It killed violence on Steel Path. I think we can be satisfied with that. Dead. I also say, what I actually would like to know is how you and people feel about shield gating. Feel like it's a weird solution for a weird problem. Doesn't feel good to play or build to. You know what? I'm going to declare that Pandora's box and refuse to open it right now. I've had enough long discussions of mechanics today. I feel like that's one Pandora's box I'm just not going to deal with today. I think we can all agree that's a big topic and very opinionated. Oh, I didn't want to go that way. I want to go this way. There we go. That was the one ability I used that entire mission, I think. Yep, one ability the entire mission. Get through that just under 6 minutes with a heavy attack only focus. Not terrible, not terrible. Let's see how it does in a survival. Gobi said it's like 80% of the way there. Gimmick is unique thematic, but without the heat damage benefit, it doesn't follow through to something to focus on, just passively benefit from. I mean, even with the heat damage benefit, it's... I've changed how I've built compared to how I've done other weapons, but really all I've done is I've made a heavy attack setup. Let's be real, I've just made a heavy attack setup. Nothing about this is leaning into the heat, is utilizing the heat, is going to benefit from the heat. Yeah. How did the box respond to therapy after the spider incident? It's doing okay, but then a large housefly came around, and I just... The irony was palpable, and I did not appreciate it. The universe decided to chuckle at me. Yeah. Thoughts on hounds triggering secondary fortifier? I'm not sure what thoughts you expect me to have on that. Are you asking, do I think it's a bug? Are you asking, do I think it's an exploit? Are you asking, do I think it's God's gift to status effects? I don't really have a thought for you on it. Sorry. Yeah. 1 and 3. Well, do I think it's a bug? I stopped weighing in on whether things are bugs or not. Let's be real. D decided things are bugs 2 years after the fact and just quietly changed them. So I've given up deciding if things are bug or not. D can tell us if it's a bug. And is it God's gift to status to secondaries or what have you. If it works for you, use it. It's not something I've particularly explored at this point, so I can't give you a further opinion than that, sorry. Is there a specific reason to use unmaxed corrupt charge? Not particularly. It fits the capacity, which is a very good reason when you think about it. That is an exceptionally good reason. But aside from that, usually you would want to use that little bit less so your combo duration doesn't run out so quick for no added gain, because 30 initial combo versus 22.5, plus the bonuses we get from Galvanized Reflex, you don't actually get an extra, combo tier. You'd be closer to the next one, but you don't actually reach it, so it's no good. They are. Aside from fitting the capacity, it's just because there is no functional benefit for that final bit. If we had another source of initial combo that was either 10, 30, 50, 70, some multiplier thereafter of that, then it would matter. Because we'd hit that next combo tier. As we can't, doesn't matter. Yeah, same as that one, really. Hard to define something as a bug if the game is a precedent of not telling you everything. Not just the game. DE have a tendency to declare things as bugs even when they were very clearly never actually bugs. Or to ignore bugs and not even talk about them until they suddenly patch it out 2 years later. So the two examples I'm referring to there, number one was Cora. I don't know if it's still in the deets. Let's have a look here. They probably removed it by now. Venari's heal posture can heal defense objectives when marked. Okay? Venari's heal posture can heal defense objectives. In Scarlet Spear, we had defense objectives. Venari's heal could heal these defense objectives. D then removed this bugged interaction of healing defense objectives. Except there was the specific tip here saying that it was intended to heal defense objectives. That rubbed people a little bit the wrong way at the time, I can tell you that for certain. Remember versus removal of it when people pointed it out? Not at that time, no. Not at that time. If they've made any changes since then, I'll be honest, I don't remember every change they make to the game, but at that time, for that particular event, no. That was taken out. It was intended in their design that if the things ran out of hit points, they ran out of hit points. Support frames with their ability to give things hit points back to support got told no, which is a little bit of a weird one. That is a little bit of a weird one, and that one just, yeah, it goes to show the level of declaring things a bug. But then the other one is over here. It is the Fenmore and its cousins. It is this particular perk right here to deal 2000% extra damage on non-critical hits. This particular one had a bugged interaction with Zarta's Whisper. Zarta's Whisper, which applies a second hit from the weapon, would not only pick up the damage bonus from this, it would also re-roll the chance at this damage bonus and apply it multiplicatively. Because this is a multiplicative, not an additive bonus, despite it saying it's an additive bonus. It's a multiplier. It's times 21. Which means that Zarta's Whisper would 25% of the time be getting a, what is that, 441 bonus, I want to say? Is that? It sounds slightly wrong, let me check. 21 times squared. Yeah, 441, I did remember correctly. So a 441 times damage bonus from this perk. Which is a little bit bonkers, in case you somehow missed just how big a number that is, on top of all the other benefits your weapon and ability could provide. 2 years that was in the game. 2 years it existed. And then in a hotfix, it was just removed as a bug. There was no forewarning that I'm familiar with. There was nothing from DE saying, this is a bug, we're working on it, despite the fact that it was a very high meta, very common combination. And then it just vanished. So, that is part of the reason why I don't really weigh in on whether an interaction is a bug or not. If it feels like it's 99% a bug, I might call it out if I'm working through a video on such a topic. Otherwise, it's just not worth the aggro to try and think it through like that. I'll be honest with you. Yeah. As I'm saying, it was fixed for Incarnants, but not Incarnoff. Then got self-fixed to be bugged again. Yeah, things. Stack Decay. Stack Decay was just a bug. That was clearly a bug. That's more, oh god, how did this even happen in the first place? But that one's a very different thing, Ray. Games bug. Programs bug. People bug. Let's be real now. People bug. But, when it comes to determining if something is a bug or not in Warframe, that's just a pain to try and consider. It's really a pain. Because we don't know D's intentions. D have been historically poor at communicating intentions for confusing or novel introductions. And when they have communicated their intentions, sometimes their communications have been distinctly different to their actual evident implementation. And then the intentions are never addressed, so we still end up wondering. So yeah. It may seem like a bit of a cop-out to try and dodge it, but that's because there isn't a better answer as far as I'm concerned. How many times do you have to do the event mission? Minimum of 4 times to get all the components, but it's ultimately you need 2 blades, 2 handles. I think it's a 50-50 of which item you get, so theoretically should be reasonable enough to get them in 4 runs, but up to 8 runs for typical acquisition. A lot longer if you're really unlucky. It's just how it goes. Ginger say, not even sure, do you know their intentions? We're going to hope for the best. Also, I love the fact that you subscribed before you even commented. Much appreciated. But for real, I don't know I'd say that, no. I don't say that D don't know their intentions, but rather I imagine there are pitfalls in the implementation and communication of intentions. What bug even prompted this? All the bugs. All the discussions. I think this one was on secondary fortifier and companions triggering it, I think. Anyway, let's go to a survival. Check this weapon out. Yep. Ryan with a hydrate.
Each enemy is
Cheers.
more powerful than before. Only with true mastery of the Tenno arsenal will you succeed.
There was also discussions earlier on bugs with regards to, what was it? The not quite fix. Oh, Corpus! Oh, bollocks. Alright. Also, I just added gas. Oops. Well, we're going to have some extra damage for a while. I was meaning to test the weapon without doing that. My bad. It'll be removed soon. Yeah, this just goes to show how effective Valence Formation is. Look at all that gas. Ooh. Lethal amounts of it. So yeah, there was a discussion around the whole Valence Formation fix, and there was one person in particular who was very upset about it and demanded that it's only right that D fix it. I disagreed. And then they decided to not only continue the point a bit, but when I replied to their continuation, go, oh, didn't you say you didn't want us to continue this? And so I banned them. If they're going to both cause a problem and then try and act like they weren't the one causing the problem, alright, you're out. That's how it went on.
Get ready for a capsule.
That's just how it goes. Oh, I think we actually had an unban request from them. Yeah, I'll look at that later, if I care. So is this Tonfa cousin of the Ripkus? I don't know if I call it a cousin of it, other than just maybe by looks. It's a Grenadier Tonfa. Know what's happened while you're doing dishes? Maybe. If you go away from the stream, you will miss things, yeah.
The life support capsule to the area. Activating it will buy you more time.
I think that should bring you up to speed, Tom, on there, yeah. The bugs. None of it included the bugs you actually like. Very sorry. No legged freaks here. Yeah, this approach is definitely vulnerable to Overguard. We can cut through it at this level, but it's vulnerable to it. Haven't played much with Lavos. What is his normal method of survivability? He's a health tank. So health and armor, stack it to the lines, and then heal when you need to. I use Arcane Grace that gives his healing passively. But you could also use his first ability for healing. So I'm currently cutting through these enemies without using any abilities. Granted the Corpus, which kind of weakens the argument a bit, because Corpus are weak. But as we see, even though it's Steel Path, I am cutting through. The heavy attacks are not struggling here. So it definitely qualifies for the position of an MR9 weapon. You can shield attack levels? That you can, yeah. That you can.
Didn't realize this ran out. Whoops.
My jaw's a bit achy today. Yo, Bite! Thank you very much for the 9-month resub with your Prime. Much appreciated. I hope you're doing well, Bite. I hope you are indeed doing well. You've once again regained access to the lovely, lovely supporter team lounge. And I know you like to be over there. Can you ask about melee exposure, how it works with Magister? I mean, is there something unusual about how it works? Because it's a corrosive damage bonus. Pretty much straight up. What's your question? Seems to work just fine, just kind of hard to be excited about melee and influence meta. I mean, you can put influence onto this if you wanted to. It's got enough status chance to make that work. As we're seeing, I'm in this room here and just kind of cutting my way through. It's exceptionally brain-dead gameplay. Move towards enemy, middle mouse click. Or whatever your heavy attack button is if you switched it. Like some kind of heathen. This is beyond basic. It just... simple melee gets it done. Chop, 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 chop. Please explain why melee exposure is used with Magister. What read on the wiki, it seems like it acts like modded corrosive, but then Magister has almost no status chance. I mean, you can use it for not status chance. Because corrosive is still corrosive damage. Yeah. So if people are equipping it to something where they're not applying statuses much, they're equipping it for the damage, that's why. I hope that makes sense. Let's get a bit more health here. There we go. It's like, why would you equip elemental mods to a weapon with low status chance in the first place? Deal more damage. Where is Acolyte? Oh, there they are. Yeah, this is weaker against Acolytes because they're limited to those 4 status procs. There's nothing you can do to change that. At least not for damaging procs. Corrosive you can, but that's kind of irrelevant. Kill rate, not amazing, but then I am in a bad room. This room is always sucky for kill rate. I hate it so much. It's just so big and annoying. Let's get out of here. Also, screw fighting the Corpus, they're just frustration. But all of that was without using any abilities, except right at the start, because I boo-booed. If you add on a gas valence to that, it's going to be even more power output. Plenty of it. And that will bypass status chance as well.
It is done.
I mean, it's a melee, really. I don't have a lot to say about it. It's a heavy attack melee. The quirk on it just doesn't seem to matter. we get extra heat damage. If it wasn't bugged, we'd get extra heat proc damage as well, but that's enough for me to care, really. I've built in a way that works with it, but that's it. Yeah, it's just that on that. Wonder if they're asking an old static build? Maybe, but we'll leave that with the individual there, yeah. What was over here? Yeah, we're all good. Cool. Exist better, oh, for goodness sake, Queen. You really made me read that. My own two eyes. God damn it. Yeah, I think this is just the limit of it. For all that the unique trait exists, I can't genuinely think of anything interesting that can be done with that. Even for the extra status type, by default we're missing impact, so we're just trading one for another. It's not like it's improved there either. The status chance is plenty workable, it's just if you're building for a heavy attack approach, which is the best way to both spend and regain those combo multipliers, we're not using that status anywhere near as much. I have a value for it. Yeah. It is an event weapon. It is a pair of tonfas that literally go burr and have heat. Sometimes. As I'm saying, partial armor strip on influence, but yeah, having to drop combo for the gimmick really mess with things. I guess. Yeah, you can go for an influence approach. It won't be the end of the world. And it's influence, like... Let's be real. Is there anyone here who still needs me to teach them about melee influence? I get me saying, I think melee animosity build would be better. Hold up. Melee animosity. Gain crit chance on next heavy attack. But you need to do melee hits first to do that. And that's not per hit. It's kind of awkward like that. It's per melee attack that lands a hit. So to get the full bonus of that, we need to do 10 non-heavy attacks per heavy attack to get the full bonus of that. Or even still 5 if we just want to compete with the crit chance we're getting from Galvanized Steel. Which is our only crit mod in here. Because you're saying free up a CD slot crit damage? Our crit damage and crit chance is one mod anyway, and also no. Oh yeah, there's organ chatter, sorry, my bad. But we're not removing that. Why would we add crit chance to remove crit damage? And you'd want to go that for status, so congrats, we have a little bit more status whilst throwing away all of our status that's here. Because the heavy attacks fling enemies. So yeah, we lose benefits to gain worse benefits. Tennokai doesn't work with this setup, because we need to spend the combo to gain the effect of the passive. Of the unique trait even. If we're not spending combo, we're not gaining the combo. If we're not gaining the combo, this doesn't trigger. If this isn't triggering, why are we using the Tomcat? Is the ultimate circle on that. Even though I'm saying that the trait is not really that important to me. Again, you could just go somewhere else. Melee attack efficiency with Kalervo? Okay, you're just stating things that exist now, Asphalt. You're going to need to give me a better question than that, please. I can't answer that question when it's just naming things that exist. How's duplicate working out? Would be terrible here. It would be terrible. What is our overall crit chance? We're getting roughly just over triple that. So we're on about 70-ish%. That's not a good rate for duplicate. And again, all it would do is give us another hit, not give us all of the extra status procs that this gives us. It wouldn't be good enough. Paradox wins again? Yeah, a higher tier, higher investment weapon does more. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. In terms of the other bits here, you're not going to go for finishers. This isn't a puncture weapon. Duplicate, as I was just mentioned, is going to be lower tier. We don't need just the elemental addition of that. It does nothing interesting for us. Melee fortification isn't damage build, it's if you want to go for a melee tank build. Which is optional, it's just okay. Melee influence exists. Melee retaliation is broadly terrible. Why would you want it? And melee vortex is irrelevant because we're not going for a magnetic approach. And I'll be honest, I've never been a fan of melee vortex anyway. It has potential and capabilities, but I've just broadly not been a fan of it. And it doesn't really fit into the way this weapon wants to work, I'd say. You could try shoehorning in magnetic. I actually wouldn't be that hard to get it because of the magnetic mods. So you could put that over Berserker Fury, you take away some of the attack speed, you get your magnetic, you could then trigger that, but then you're listing else on afflictions, and it's all just why have we gone to this amount of effort? When afflictions just works. And quite considerably so, as we've seen, where enemies that were in an animation and therefore blocked the knockdown or fling were then unaffected and stayed alive, but as soon as I could afflict them, they just fell over. That's what I say. Okay, if Telekai doesn't work, the next best thing is bleeding some melee combo because Kalervo's passive 75. I know what his passive is, yeah. We use Ruffle Advance to gain crit and bleed some combo count. Okay, I haven't really focused too much on the Warframe application here, but I'm not sure why you feel that Kalervo specifically for heavy attack efficiency is necessary when we already have a perfectly viable initial combo build. That's what this one is. It's initial combo. Yes, you can indeed build for a heavy attack efficiency combo setup. You can do that. That's not a problem. But in order to utilize a unique trait and also to just maintain that combo, you're now going to need to make normal attacks in between your heavy attacks to get to that position. And if those normal attacks are good enough, then why were you heavy attacking in the first place? It's all just kind of trying to chase what feature you want, and it comes down to this unique trait not being that amazing. So, you're right, you can use heavy attack efficiency. That heavy attack efficiency does mean you would lose a small amount of heavy attack multiplier, and so that when you go into future attacks and gain that combo multiplier back, you'll trigger this trait. It just doesn't seem to be an effective way of doing it in anything interesting. Definitely finicky, yeah. And again, it just comes back to the core point of this trait, as much as it is cute, isn't really much to work with. It's like... how could I explain this best? I can't give a good analogy without sounding ridiculous. I'm just going to say, you're going through a load of extra steps, and at the end of it I have to ask, what have you achieved? That's it. That's just the entire question. You've gone through all of those steps. Cool, what's the result? What have we done that can't be done elsewhere, or isn't being achieved by this build, for example? What have we got? And I'll be honest, it sounds like the answer is nothing. That is the answer, just nothing. So we've got heavy attack efficiency here, but more importantly, we've got the initial combo build-up on top of the initial combo here, so every time I heavy attack, it brings back the combo automatically. Unique trait goes trigger, 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 trigger. Every time I heavy attack, it's just constantly firing off. So this stays maxed out. Every time it drops, if we just don't succeed for 15 seconds, doesn't take us long to get it back. And then that's it. It just sits there in the background, giving us 120% heat damage, diluting our status chance out of slash, but in a potentially useful way, and otherwise just sitting there, it's just vibing. It is otherwise Tonfas. Tonfas into which I have thrown Freeformer, and a melee arcane adapter, and an Exless adapter, and it exists. At least Reflex feels like a must-have you want to utilize its trait here. Not necessarily, because you could just go for a normal combo building approach with heavy attack efficiency with like Kalervo, which was the entire point Ashval was giving. Yeah. I guess it's fun then, sinking that much into it. Hey, just because I invest in something doesn't mean it's necessarily quote-unquote fun. My role as a content creator isn't to immediately already know what's fun and only invest into that. It's the other way around. I invest into things to see, is it worthwhile? If I don't invest into it, if I just hold it, look at it and go, yep, these are stats, I don't know how it's really going to feel. Warframe is fiercely mathematical, but it is not in a way that can be modeled simply. The practical, empirical approach, that's the word, is usually the best way to find out if something is fun and engaging and worthwhile. And just looking at that there reminded me of one poll I wanted to put out to all of you lot. Whilst we got you here, one quick question for you. Let's make this poll. What level range do you care for in builds? Holy shit, I can fit the whole question in. Star chart, which is 1 to 50. Mid game, which is 51 to 100. Base steel path, 101 to 200. Higher end game, which is say 300 to 500, and alright, quick poll. What level range do you care for in builds? This goes out to everyone, and yes, I am looking for just a single answer. What level range do you care for in builds? Do you care for Star Chart, mid game, base steel path, end game, level 300 to 500, we're talking EDA, ETA, or fully level cap stuff? Where do you care about for your builds? Where do you want to be? Where do you want to be guided towards? Also comes through, Temple Warden asking, do you mind if I ask how you figured out the Daft Punk bit in your Bass Assist video? Actually, it's surprisingly simple. The whole reason I picked up on the Daft Punk bit was actually just because I put the phrase in harder, better, faster, stronger, and realized, oh yeah, that's a Daft Punk lyric. That's what I'm referencing there. I wonder if I can work with that. And so I looked up what is the BPM of that particular song. It comes out to a little bit over 123. Well, 123 beats per minute, you just take that number, 123.4, divide it by 60, because that's 60 seconds, and it gives me 2.06. 2.06 beats per second, so you just then modify your fire rate to be 2.06. And if you want to know what fire rate bonus you need to hit 2.06, you take 2.06, you divide it by the base fire rate of the item. In this case, the code of Bass Assist is 1.17, and that comes out to a fire rate bonus needed of 1.76, or a 76% bonus. A 76% bonus. So if I then go to the code of Bass Assist, I then look at this, it's like, okay, we're at 90% here. This is the bonus we have. We need 76, we're at 90. 90 minus 76. We need to lose about 14% of our bonus, of our fire rate bonus. This is at 20. Can I get that closer to it? And it turns out, yes, I can. Minus 13.3 is very nearly 14%. And that gets us there. That's the process. You just, in short, choose the song you want to match. Find out the BPM by Googling it, divide it by 60, that's the fire rate you need to aim for, divide it by the base fire rate, and that gives you the total bonus you want to have. And there we are. It's not the most involved process, realistically, it is 100% gimmick. But considering that I could do it, and very few people would probably think to do it, it just seemed like an interesting thing to throw in. So, why not? Just a little bit of goof right at the end. And given it is a music-themed weapon, it fits. Octavia modding? Pretty much. Pretty much. So, yeah, that is indeed a thing you can do. Fun fact on the Octavia modding side, a few people wondered if I was going to talk about how you can do that kind of thing for Octavia's mallet. Not mallet, Octavia's Mandicord, and how that works with metronome. Well, this here, if I recall correctly, the whole thing around is 8 seconds. So this area here is 2 seconds. I think it's 2 seconds to go through all of that. So let's see. 1, 2, yeah, it's 2 seconds. Which means that each of these dots, these squares, these notes, these are all 1/4 of a second, right? No. 1/8 of a second. So in order to hit this on every single beat, you would want a fire rate of 8. But you don't have to hit it on every single beat, you just want it to always hit on a beat. So you want to make sure it is some factor of 8. So fire rate of 8, it hits it every single time. Fire rate of 4 hits here, 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 so on. Fire rate of 2 hits at the start of each of these beats. Fire rate of 1 hits here, and then here, and then here, and then here, and so on. So if you want to match up with Octavia's music, and certainly if you're using that for lazy metronome purposes rather than manually doing it yourself, that's what you want to do. Have a fire rate of 8, 4, 2, 1, or half. If you have a fire rate outside of those figures, you can't just hold down fire at the start of one beat and always match. You have to do more work then. No. There's a website for a lot of songs of metronome? I'm sure, yeah. There's a lot of stuff that's done by, for example, Buffoon, who's another creator over on YouTube. They cover a lot of stuff as well. If you want Warframe music, Buffoon does a lot of that. So yeah. Alright, now that poll came through, I'll be honest, the results, I don't have the exact results up now because it ran away. Oh, no, I have it here. So, of the results, 2 people voted for mid-game, 8 people for base steel path, 6 people for level cap, 20 of you for endgame level 300 to 500. Level 300 to 500. Fair enough then. That's where the majority of you, 56% of those you voted, want the modding to be power level for. Absolutely reasonable request. So if I were to take this at the moment, because it was one of the comments that stood out to me on the video, said something to the tune of, you've shown it against level 130 enemies, but how does it actually work in relevant content, high level? And for a moment that shook me, because the idea that someone would sneer at level 130 steel path and go, that's easy, show me where it matters. But yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. DE have kind of gone a little bit bonkers, haven't they? The idea of appropriate leveling for stuff is kind of out there. Let's just set you to that. You know what, let's just leave the Tomcat equipped for now, see what it does. Load into Sanctum Anatomica. How does subsumed ability cooldowns work on Lavos? Very simply, they have a 10-second cooldown. If the ability is recastable, the 10 seconds starts straight away. If the ability is not recastable, the 10 seconds starts once the ability runs out. You can see this, for example, with Raw. Raw is a 10-second cooldown after Raw ends, unless you use the Piercing Raw Augment, which makes it recastable. And then for Gloom, which is a channeled ability, it becomes a duration ability, not channeled. I forget the base duration it's given, but I think it's more than 10 seconds. You'll have to double check the Gloom page on that exact value. Don't want you. You're not high enough level. I want you. Now, I've already done this all the way up to the second maximum reward. I'm going to go solo into this real quickly. We've got Disruption, Mirror Defense, Exterminate. Mirror Defense I'm not set up for, but I just want to see the damage level on the Disruption here. Enemies level 375 to 400. Let's see how the weapon handles over there. And in fact, to assist it, because we are looking at potential maximization, let's bring the full power approach for it. If we're going to go for full difficulty, let's go full power. Let's see how that works.
You in the mood for a little?
I'm literally busy, Tagfer. Not every weapon has to have an ETA viable loadout. That's the thing though, is if it's not viable for that level, people are going to want to know, right?
I shall monitor your progress from here.
I'm going to try and not use abilities to buff it at the moment. Although, to be honest, if someone wants to say, oh, weapons are not good enough because it needs an ability to buff it, well, calm down at that point. Can I have some enemies, please? There we go. Oh, we start with an Xmas, that's fine. It's not like I need stacks or anything. Oh wait, no, it's not an Xmas, they just all have Overguard, I remember now. Is that bastard of a thing? Yeah, I think this works, guys. Level 375, they're kind of dying. That one died next to the one I fired at. Yeah, this looks fine. Xmas, one shot. Anyone still concerned? Is this the gas blast or single target build? This is the full power build. So it requires a status primer to get the full power out of it, but yeah. Now do it with Brata Mark 1 non-incarnate. Why would I do that? You do that. This is somehow the most Ken way of showing off the Bass Assist. Fair enough. Not entirely sure I understand, but fair enough. Hi there. Oh, gotta reload. There we are. I think I let the status blocks run out there, which didn't help. Don't know how I was on weapon stacks. I have got all deadhead stacks at the moment, despite it being Murmur. Not as good as Burst on Necromex? Maybe not, but one, that's a high level incarnate. Two, I am still making sure I'm optimizing this. Don't judge it by the first kill. Also, no ability buffs. Yeah, Bass Assist, it's... I know it's supposed to be Base Assist, but Bass Assist just sounds more correct. I called it Base Assist all throughout the video, and honestly that took effort to say. By context, it should be Base Assist, but all instinct says Bass Assist. Honestly, I don't think that was too bad. Any reason why Epitaph instead of Prime Epitaph? It's just the one I have set up ready as a primer. To say this is a Disruption ETA, sorry, EDA, I don't think that's too bad. The only issue would be making sure you have a viable primer to equip. I am using one of the best primers. But aside from that, it's getting the work done, isn't it? I mean, there's a, what do you call it? Grozling over here. Let's see how that goes. Oh, these things are tanky bastards, aren't they? Those aren't the ones I wanted to kill. Where's the one I wanted to kill? Come back here. There we go. Recoil looks insane, but doesn't actually move the cursor. Correct! A lot of people complain about the recoil on the base assist, and I just don't see it. I really genuinely don't see it. Granted, I have got Deadhead equipped, but even then. Like... it's not a problem. Wait, what the fuck? How is it almost dead? What? How much damage was in that fucking vial? I have never seen that before. What was that? Corrosive? Corrosive is not an answer for that. That thing just melted. Yeah, gotta aim for the headshots with this thing. If it's a stronger unit, you need the headshots. Get that 6 times damage bonus. It is huge. Alright, where are we traveling to next? Over this way. Still haven't used ability buffs, by the way. Just putting that out there. This is entirely just primer and weapon. Oh god, my damage stacks have all run out. No. Okay, that's bad. 1 headshot. 2 headshots. Oh god, where's the headshot? You jumped in the air. There it is. There we go, back up to 4 headshots. Which way for this one? This way? You know what, I'm going to drag the enemies over here and then plug it in, just so I can make sure I've got full stacks. There we go. Okay, that's refreshed all the stacks. I should be good to go with that. Let's summon the target. There we go. Just making sure I'm stacked up to deal the damage I need. Now something I can headshot, please. Thank you. God, the headshot on that thing actually obliterated it. Guzzling time. Instantly wipe out its overguard, which is nice. Putting in the damage. Proc them up. Come on, you. There it is. Was that a headshot? Yes, it was. Good. I've got full stacks. Go for the target, nice and quick. Prime it with everything. And hit it till it stops moving. Or should I say, shoot them until they are dead. It's pretty good advice, honestly. He may be an absolute jackass, but he knows what he's talking about in that regard. Oh god, the fire rate. Ah, my ammo. Ugh. Did those zones stack? I don't know, I've never noticed that before. Huh, yeah, the zones actually stack. Oh, did I get the quote wrong? My bad. Yeah, that's the ammo consumer 9000. Alright. God help you if you use an Exceltra in this area. How relevant do I think something like the video about one-shotting Archons and other world bosses is with how much things have been power crept? Well, for starters, the one-shot got removed because D didn't like that I put it out there. Not me personally, they just didn't like that people found a way to one-shot their bosses, and so they learned how to do better. And they also removed the big part of the desire for the one-shots, in that anything other than a one-shot sucked. Just like running out of stacks. Shit, I've not got any enemy to charge off of. I have 0 damage stacks. Ah, this is gonna suck. Yep, I've got no damage. I need targets. Never mind. Alright, cool. Job done. Yep, vitriol. It's just too strong. Plus nerf. EDA so easy it beats itself. Honestly, yeah, like what the hell? He walks into the puddle. I didn't know the puddles were just that damn dangerous, but honestly, new tech. This is a surprise to me. Struggling with demolishers? Just splash them with a vial. Imagine if Lavos could have that power. Vitriol rush rather than vial rush. Alright, this is probably going to suck. In fact, for this, I'm going to buff. Wrong buff. Try again. There we go. Actually, you know what? No, let's go full gas on this. I'm going to need every buff I can get to help with defending, because... actually, I might need to go radiation on this. I need confusion. I need crowd control. Also, I can't see when the screen turns into grey. As soon as this runs out, send out another wave of radiation. More radiation means more confused enemies. More confused enemies means fewer enemies actively fighting me. Fewer enemies fighting me, I can defend better. Do we know why it has 19 rad damage? Because it's a coda weapon, so it's rad, man. You know, 90s, stuff like that. Gotta keep it radical. But yes, I am intentionally using radiation here as a defensive element. Fun fact, Lavos can do that. Okay, bit of damage over here, not a fan. But we can clean up. Rad pile. Kill the ones nearby. Take the opportunity, zap stuff off. You know, the cold actually helping to accidentally highlight the enemy there. Not something I expected, but I am all for it. Cold for the win. It's an enemy highlighting function. Stop ruining my parkour. I live and die by parkour, damn it. Also, double glyphs needed is actually killing me here. This is fucking difficult solo. I don't know I'm going to succeed, I'll be quite honest. Does the health regen between waves? Get as many of these as I can, that'll do. And then get on location. What do I think about Sight versus Lavos? I don't know why you're comparing them, to be honest. What do you think about spoons versus oranges? What's your opinion on Germany versus the colour pink? They do different things. They can both use all elements? Sure, and both Germany and the colour pink can be a point of contention for fragile egos. I mean, Don't know what you want me to do with this. There's a reason I don't put out Warframe tier lists. Some Warframes are worse to use than others, but otherwise they fill different roles. Trying to digest it down into a simple comparison that fits into a tweet. Well, there's a reason we stopped using Twitter. Which wasn't admittedly that, but still. I need to collect more of these. At least I can let them build up a bit and then collect a whole bunch of them when I get a quieter moment. And then that's off cooldown. Send out another wave of defense. Absolutely not. Please and thank you, piss off. Use that to coat the area a little bit. All abilities on cooldown, damn it. Please focus on each other more. I don't think I'm going to finish this mission successfully, I'm sorry. I think I am not defensive enough to do this solo, despite the damage output of the base assist. I'm doing the best that I can, whilst occasionally looking at chat. But I think I am going to flub this mission. Two seconds. A little bit further out. There we go. Give them a moment to spawn. Oh, they came a little bit faster than I thought. Wave off. Some stacks have vanished because of the time between rounds. And yeah, this thing is half health already. This is going to be bad. Another wave of radiation. Slow as much down as I can. All I'm going for with the radiation is just to try and get some enemies to focus on each other, not the objective. I don't need them to kill each other. In fact, I don't want them to, because then I'll get new unirradiated enemies spawning. I want the enemies to just be busy. That's my goal here. Make them busy. Because if they're busy doing anything other than ruining my day, I can oh god, maybe keep this alive? These 14,000 hit points are all that I need to keep alive over here for this one wave, and then I can just forget about it. I'm trying to get hit points ready for the other side, because if I can't get enough here, I might as well try and be ready for the other one. I can't see through this bullshit. There's a bunch of them coming in. Radiation wave. Hopefully try and distract them a little bit longer. Where the fuck did that damage come from? Down to 4k, 2k. Where is it being hit from? I'm shooting in every direction. 7 seconds. Please have mercy on me. Average mirror defense experience? Really average? My, you are struggling then, because this is... Oy. Not designed as a solo mission. Okay. Show me the hit points. What have I got to work with? Okay. About, what, 2/3, 3/4? I can work with this. There's no point in me going for the glyphs. There's no way I'm going to get enough in time for another reset. So it is pure defense now. That is the entire objective. Just defense. The glyphs are irrelevant to me. Where the fuck did all the hit points go? Where did they all just go? I swear I was killing everything. Nope, I've lost. What the fuck was...
I think we'll be leaving that.
What the fuck was that? It just... Where was all that damage earlier? Where was all that damage earlier? It was not that difficult before, and then just... Ah. Gear embargo? Yeah, gear embargo's on. I had all the modifiers on there. Because otherwise it wouldn't be a fair example of that kind of mission. So, transference, max energy, but Labos. Energy exhaustion, but Labos, and then gear embargo. If you don't have gear embargo, yeah, you just slap down one of the Protector Xmas and you're good. God damn, that thing just got blapped. Why Epitaph and not Prime? Because it's just where I have the Primer build. It's nothing special. The gun works, but fuck mirror defense. I did my best there, and then suddenly 30,000 damage just came around the corner. Ugh. And sometimes you have that mission with enemies with Overguard, and that's just stupid. No more EDA rerolls in 2.5 hours? No, that makes me worried, because that means I'm going to be convinced to try and go there again. I don't want to do that. But yeah, the Coda base assist, absolutely slapping with the damage output there. Not concerned in the slightest. So there you are. Do that one comment going, can you show us more than just level 130 enemies? Fair enough. There you are. That's me looking enough AoE to hit another corridor. I'm not sure what I needed properly there. I was irradiating enemies, and whilst the radiation should have been active, there was just some piling through. I think honestly just a wall. Jellyfish saying, I would like to change my vote in the poll from 300 to 500 to 100 to 200 after that. On what basis, Jellyfish? Like, you had a reason to pick 300 to 500 before, so on what basis do you change your mind? Because if I recall correctly, the ETA and EDA, they have hit point buffs as well to make it comparable, or at least on the kind of level of buffs that Steel Path gives, right? Not to mention just the sheer level increase. Let me just double check on that.
There you are. I would speak with you. I like it here. Lots of natural master and
let's see, empowered enemies, enemy health and shields increased by 100%, and an extra 50 for each squad member up to max 300. Okay, yeah, so with one person in the squad, they get 150, whereas Steel Path it's 250, flat, but then there's the enemy level increase as well. So yeah, this is stronger than Steel Path of a lower level, yeah. So yeah, I suppose a demonstration there would help out. It's a little bit more frustrating to show. I suppose I can just not use the gear effects and just show it as is as much as possible, but yeah. Just for say, remember how BS Archimedes scaling and modifiers can be. It's not as easy to get a judge of power level, I guess, but at the same time, if you see it succeeding, then you see it succeeding. You know, oh wow, damn, it can work even if it rolls up an EDA. Hey, good news. So yeah, as the majority of you put your vote that direction, I think it's worthwhile there. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying there, Zom. Yeah. The mirror defense was an issue of defense, not offense, and that just comes down to no gear, no walls. If I had gear and walls, we'd be fine. No gear and walls. Suddenly 30k damage. I can't do anything about that. Alright, I think it's about time we do a plat giveaway. If you're not already grabbed a ticket, exclamation mark ticket in the chat for a chance to win it there. We'll be rolling that out shortly. I'll give you all a moment to grab your tickets there. We currently got 52 tickets in. Let's see how high that goes when people start claiming their tickets. For those of you who don't know, it's 75 plat. Goes out to any one person who claims himself a ticket. If you are the winner, I'll announce it not just here on stream, but also over on Discord. And so long as you respond within 24 hours via Twitch, you are good to claim it. Doesn't matter if you're on PC, Xbox, Switch, PlayStation, or on mobile, anyone can win it. Shocking, a gun doesn't stop damage, but I'm a good guy with a gun. How could it go wrong? Okay, no, that is too political. Let's not. Let's not. My bad. Apologies. Let's not. I think that spider would enjoy the base assist. The spider would be obliterated, and rightfully so. Whether it held it or was aimed at. Show levels build real quick? Sure. There you are. That was real quick. If you want to see more on Lavos and understand the build properly, I recommend you do exclamation mark Lavos. Go over to the video guide there, because then you can see the build, variations of the build to better suit yourself, and understand how it all actually comes together. Or you could use the overlay on Twitch here, if it's working for you, the view loadout overlay, which also shows you what I'm using. But if you're going to give me real quick like that, I'm sorry, I just have the opportunity. You wish you didn't have those chunky boots? I mean, you kind of need them to stay steady when you're Vile rushing. You imagine Vile rushing into one of those low fences you get on like half a mission tiles without having shin guards? Ah! You'd literally turn into the Family Guy, Peter Griffin meme. It just doesn't end well. You need the shin guards. Yeah, definitely go to the Lavos video. It just explains this a lot better. Also, Arcane Fury didn't actually need to be on here because I wasn't using the melee, I was using the gun. So that's a thing. Why are the heals? Isn't that counterintuitive? No, not in the slightest. You see, Lavos has transmuted these heals into techno-stabilizers. And therefore, he is dressed for all elements, come rain or shine. Fancy and practical in pure combination. Yes. Is the plat giveaway from DE or from myself? It's from DE. You can't actually personally run plat giveaways without DE's authorization. Just a fun fact on this. Because from DE's perspective, someone just giving a bunch of platinum to someone else looks identical to someone buying platinum illegitimately. So platinum giveaways that aren't run by DE are actually against TOS. Fun fact. If DE run it, or if DE sanction it, it's all good. And so that's why we got a 75 plat giveaway, which is provided by and sanctioned by DE. They hand it out in badges. So yeah. What about Prime part giveaways? Items are items. If you give out items to other players, they aren't about to shut down the fact that loads of people like to support other people. And so just items being given out, D doesn't have the same issue with. I understand how much of a weird grey edge case that might sound like. I honestly get it, but those are the rules as given. Let's face it, this is DE. We all know what the letter C stands for in Digital Extremes. But yeah, plat giveaways, no bueno, unless DE is sanctioned. Giving items out, bueno, so long as people aren't paying for it. And yeah, as Roy is saying, some communities do giveaways with like 1,000+ plat, but they have to get pre-approval from DE. Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Alright then, that's enough time for everyone to grab tickets. We went up from, what was it, like 52 to 70. There's always a bunch of people who don't claim until the end, but let's close those entries now. Only one of you is going to be the winner. And the winner is... Swidger. I don't know how to pronounce names that have absolutely zero vowels in them. So SWDJR Or would you? Congratulations, you are the winner of the Platinum giveaway today. I'll be contacting you shortly after the end of this stream. Get hold of your Warframe username, your platform, and if you have cross-save turned on or not, we'll get that sent on over to you. Hey, here they are. Great Cape Goomer suggesting maybe it's Swid Jr., but I'm just seeing it all in lowercase. It's not the bot that's doing it this time. Swidja. How am I supposed to pronounce that, please? Sick? No, I don't think I'm... No, I think you were referring to something else there. How do I pronounce it? Please. It's your initials. Alright then, fair enough then. To the honourable person, Mr. or otherwise S. To the honourable S, congratulations. Let's send you a quick whisper there. Just going to send you a smiley face. You know how this works. I hope you know how this works. If you don't know how it works, you're about to find out very quickly, aren't you? In any case, respond to that smiley face DM right there with, please, your Warframe username, your platform, and if you have cross-save turned on or not. I'll send you the full details about how this works in a message there shortly after the end of stream. But everyone else... Well, everyone actually, you're included, but everyone, thank you very much for joining in on the stream today. We've helped out Vay Hek. We've got Vay Hek's lovely, lovely weapon. It turns out it is a Tonfa with a gimmick that, while interesting, doesn't really have any significance, but it exists. You're on mobile, it's wonky, Charlotte? Okay, I will send a follow-up for you, so if you can't get the message to come through, so long as you can see the DM, more info will be there in a moment, so don't you worry. I do have a robust process to make sure pretty much everyone can appropriately respond to a giveaway, even if Twitch Mobile decides to throw a wobbly. Trust me, I got you covered. Let's see, who can we raid on into today in the Warframe category? Who can we raid on into today? We saw through all the peeps. There appears to be some nerd at the top. What's the Ken Grenier, is that? No, Ken... Engineer? What kind of a username is that? Ew. Nah. Let's go over somewhere more proper. Let's go over to, let's go Gaz. We popped into Gaz a few times. I haven't got an issue with popping into Gaz again today. Let's do that right now. Raid is up. There we are then. Akaboy asking, why do people struggle with mobile so much? It's not that bad. On some devices, on some setups, it's not that bad. And then others, it just breaks inexplicably. People lose the whisper button because it's straight up not there. I can't explain it. I can't explain it. Anyway, that's all from me today. I'll see you all in the next stream on Wednesday. Until then, have a good start to your week. Bye-bye.